tuto spoon, tuto spoon, you ain't know. If the children crying for starvation, just tuto spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, tuto spoon. You want to know what is happening, Morocco, tuto spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just tuto spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, tuto spoon. Yeah, tuto spoon. Yeah, tuto spoon. You from Vonjama, Maryland, tuto spoon. Yeah, tuto spoon. If you eat keep my graduate, my brother, tuto spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, tuto spoon. Yeah, tuto spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, man, you back today. Spoon TV. Yes, man, you back today. Spoon TV. Spoon TV. Skiddy dabado. Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment.
Well, folks, good evening once more and welcome to the biggest thing that takes place on radio, online, television as well. We are live. This is Spoon Talk, coming to you through Spoon 107.5 FM, Fabric 101.1 FM, Spoon 107.5. We have Super 95.5, and we also have all of our online platforms, Super TV, Fabric TV, and of course Spoon TV as well, and we're also on YouTube. Welcome, my name is Aaron Kuban, and I'm your sound producer for tonight's edition of the program. I'd like to reduce my height now and cross over to Dr. Rachel Singh and James Samuel Gude Flomo. Yeah, James get all the names. James Samuel Gude Flomo.
At least you can remember them. Yeah, hello, how you doing today?
Fine. I'm good, and I showed James also good.
Yes, I'm great. Ghosty Manime.
That's good, Aaron. That's good to hear that you're doing well in Liberia. I am glad to be here today. I hope all of our audience are doing well. I my greetings to you guys. Yeah, hello, how you doing? You know, I miss Liberia. I miss people say, yeah, hello. When people be passing, those kind of the small little things you be missing it. But anyway, it's good to be here today. I feel a little rushed. Today is Saturday. You know how you got all the things that you planning to do on Saturday because you home, you got to wash clothes, laundry. Luckily, we got our laundry machine in here. You're not by hand, we're doing it but you still got to organize it. Then you got, shopping to do for the week. Then I still got cooking to do for the week. You got to do it since I'm working. And then, I like gardening. I went out to get some flowers to plant in my garden. And the people told me, the people got season for everything. Yeah, they almost say, you too early. You got to cut after Mother's Day. I said, what? I'm looking for, I said, she said, no, I was looking for a certain kind of, flowers that I was asking. I said, I haven't seen the type of flowers that I like so far. She said, because it's early. It's still early April. You gotta come in May sometime. And I said, oh, okay. For some reason, I thought, I didn't realize that we had to buy flowers by, spending season and all of that stuff like that, So, but anyway, No matter how you live in America, there's certain things that you just don't know. But Aaron, what going on in our country?
Um, Many of the trending news from yesterday still cross over to today,
Oh yeah.
except that the vice president today had a press conference, which James will talk more about. But a lot of people are when you go around, many of the opposition folks are looking forward to April 28th and looking forward to the day when former Vice President Joseph Boakai will name his running mate. That's what many people are talking about, especially both the opposition and folks in the ruling. They believe that uh, Joseph Yimon Boakai coming out with a running mate is something long overdue now, so it should not be strange. But people in the opposition are gearing up. They are gearing up. I was somewhere and someone was saying that the guys from Nima County, they are gearing up. This thing that we talked about last night, giving it up for someone, I think they're showing signs. There are several signs. You look at it, it seems like this individual from Nima County might just be the one chosen by Vice President Jose Imam Puaka, because I was somewhere and the Nimbayan are gearing up in their numbers, and I understood that there are shirts being distributed between them, and they are coming to Morovia in their numbers from Nima County
Gina,
just for Joseph.
show the picture then again. Gina, wait,
So
Aaron talking about be flashing that picture then with a Nima County person on it. The one
yeah,
that
with the way I'm seeing the momentum building up,
Mhm.
you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that that person might just come from Nima County. Yeah, but it is not clear yet. Yeah. So those are the trending news. James will say more about the vice president interview. Why was it? Because he broke the news yesterday that she would have spoken on today. So apparently he's gonna say more about that. But people still talking about Joseph Newman Boaka Friday's, picked of a running mate.
Yeah. Interesting. We're waiting for the day ourselves so we can discuss the pros and cons of
Why are
having.
you talk about your own?
No, there's no reason to talk about our own. The day that Mr. Cummings select a leader, definitely will be talking about that. And you're right. We seem to be giving, President Buckeye and his team undue publicity, but
Wow.
but but that's what's in the news, and we're
The
obligated here to tell Liberians.
No, do you?
She
Yeah,
said President Boakai.
No, she
She's
said Vice. I
looking at,
think the law breaking on. She said Vice, but the
no,
law
she
did not.
said President Boakai. She's looking at
whatever.
the future.
We are giving undue publicity. That's the word that you should focus on right now. But yeah, but that's what's in the
I don't think so, man. Yeah,
well, that's
I
what's
don't, I
in
don't
the
know.
news. That is what's in the news.
You
So
know,
we owe it to the Liberian people to tell them what is happening. And when Mr. Cummings announces his running mate, we'll definitely be discussing that. So when Gonglo announces his running mate, we'll be discussing that as well. So it's not by choice. It's not something that I care to be discussing here. So that's it is what it is. So, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, we're just discussing Poca," but that's like you just said. That's what you hear in Liberia, right? Now,
Mhm.
yeah,
does
you
it
know,
mean because we discuss it? Does it mean that he's going to win? I know I don't think that. I believe that he
yes,
will win.
discussing it means that you are paving the way or you are doing a very good publicity for his campaign.
Well, by me saying yesterday that he mentioned once upon a time he was a parked car, I don't think that's good
There's
publicity.
no bad publicity.
Well, I don't think. I think that maybe some people
Yeah,
think
there is no
that.
Bible listen. James.
There's
I
no
think
bad publicity. You can
Well,
even count on the show here. You say Jinku de from here big Jala Bureau. You still doing good publicity for
no,
me.
I don't think that. I think that
Ah,
I'm providing information to Liberian people, but in a way, you're right. No, well, in America, we say no news is good news. So if he wasn't in the news at all, then maybe there would be something good. But I'm telling you, if you want to talk about
And another one again, people keep doing, specifically the ANC people. There's this something called setting the agenda, right? Every day they will set the public agenda on Boakai. He can be president.
They feel that was the issue about the land.
Yeah, he stole some other land.
Yeah, and the people in the ANC, even the citizens, did not really run with that more than the guys in the ANC. I don't know why they were doing that. They were the ones who really ran with that. Yeah. They were the ones who really, ran with that story about Joseph Joubert Boakai, selling a land to someone that had some controversy over it. And they were the one running away at his age. And he said,
let's talk about Mr. Cummings. I believe that I do all my closing remarks by talking about Mr. Cummings. So I'm agreeing with you guys. So what's in the news about Mr. Cummings? Since you guys,
yeah, Mr. Cummings was at the Intellectual Center I think about 2 days ago, and he was asked as to whether he intends to. Because I attended that event, so I cannot really recall whether someone else, You're
not making a news here, but if there's anything about Boakai, you will tell me about how you went to.
That is what we call framing. The result in journalism. In journalism, there is something called framing, because everyone has framed or they have set the public agenda on Boakai. Even if Kumi does good, people don't talk about it. That is why people need to stop.
Let's reframe. Since you talk about framing in psychology,
you see, you guys are framing it in a way that everybody's attention is
psychology. Well, I agree with you, James. Let's reframe.
That's a very perfect framing for Boakai.
The reason I didn't talk about
reframing. We're not reframing.
That event took place. Today is Saturday. That event took place on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
So, and when we come on the radio, we announce trending news of the day. So it is my assumption that the person who sat on the show that night might have done the.
Damo announced it.
Okay,
announced that it was the day that I think Kumi said he was now going as VP to.
Yeah, anyone. Yeah.
So the agendas were brought on the table, but you know which one took the lead that day? I expected even the team to take Cummings' pronouncement serious, but again, we kept with the same old agenda. The agenda we set for the public was Boakai. We did not, place emphasis on Cummings or even Weah. So that is what the media does, right? The media cannot tell the public. The media cannot force the public to think to think on something, but they can direct the public on what to think about. Yeah, so every day we come here, we make people to just focus on Boakai.
I'm directing the public right now. Let's talk about Mr. Cummings.
But no news.
Well, I'm bringing the news to you.
We got news.
I'm telling you.
There's a photo. You need to contact Chokon Flammer now. He has a photo for Cummings. That photo. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I guess Chokon is listening. Chokon, please send that to me.
Please send that photo. Please send that photo.
Let's talk about what makes Mr. Cummings a good leader and how he would make a good president in Liberia. President for Liberia. Let's talk about that. Y'all need to go learn some things, journalists.
Yeah, so no, I just brought simple journalism. What journalists do around the world? You see journalists around the world, don't see that at how you say they are something. Journalists will bring what they want you to think about.
But that's what I'm bringing now. I want you to think about Commissar bringing.
Yeah. So when you can bring Boakai, the public can just be saying and laughing.
Okay, I bring your comments now. Yeah.
So to be honest, last time I attended because I'm a new narrative fellow, and as part of our many trainings that they conduct for us, one of the trainings we're doing election reporting, and they invited some of the political parties. I think I'm hearing myself. They invited some of those political parties to come and explain their manifesto and what they will do if they are elected, if they already have a manifesto. And to be honest, the ANC was the only political party that brought forth that manifesto. And I read that document. Though there were some
very good agenda.
So why we read about it?
Because they don't know how to frame it, and they don't know how to say their own
That
agenda.
document is
They
a
say their
very,
agenda
very
with
good
people.
document. Though it has some issues that we raised during the
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead, Aaron.
yeah, though it has some other issues, but on the overall, it's a very good document. And when I read that document, when that document was displayed to us, it was sent. I think I have that in my WhatsApp. When it was sent to us, I was wondering why the people in the ANC has not heralded this entire thing. Why we've not heard about it? Because at this point, many of those political parties do not even have a manifesto. They don't have something to start up on.
Yeah.
But the ANC now has something very good laying down that when if the ANC is elected, let's say tomorrow, they're gonna start with it.
Absolutely.
But many of the political parties, even the CDC, we had to use the CDC how you call it proper agenda. But that proper agenda, we're not focusing on it. We were focusing on if you were to win the upcoming election 2023, what are you going to be using to run the country? You should have a manifesto already. And for my observation, only the ANC brought forward a manifesto at that training that
You
time.
see how many days it been? Then you just talking about area to deal. Talking about in your WhatsApp phone. But you see,
yeah, I would try to get it sent to G.
So if we think about your ethical behavior, how are you guys inform the Liberian people in a balanced and fair way? You're not being biased. You're taking out your own personal views out of
No,
this.
he brought a news that you had to do it.
Yeah, so that news. No, it was a workshop. It was not intended for newspaper. It was a workshop tuning. So yeah.
So they just saying to the workshop, just to go to the workshop.
No, it's something that I applied for. I'm a new narrative fellow. I applied for that fellowship. It's a 1 year, how you call it, program, training journalists and reporting on, several issues, lengthy investigative reporting. That's what they do. So they have in that 1 year period, you have about 3 trainings. So as part of one of the trainings that we did, that was when they had that manifesto aspect, and that was when I think it was about a month ago. Yeah.
Okay, and you never said nothing. My first time here, you talking about it.
So,
well, you can tell me that you went to some kind of corner where they were talking about Boca, but you talking about it here today. But you didn't tell me that you went to the manifesto.
But it's training today. That's why I'm saying it. But I want to train it.
Okay, whatever. And what makes things trend?
When people are, when the news is scaring it, people out there are talking about it. Both social media and traditional media running it.
Has social media can pick it up.
But the custodian of the information first had to let that information out. The ANC, for all indication, even when Mr. Cummings appeared on Thursday, he was asked how he would run the country. He did not, quote his manifesto. He was just saying things like maybe offhand. He should be able to tell the people that we have a manifesto that says this, it's written, it's cast, it's placed on paper so that they can, better, have a trust that this man has placed it on paper and we believe he can go by this. But if you listen to Cummings, even you that from the ANC and all of the folks, they don't quote that manifesto. It's a very good document that I read. I hope that maybe folks within the ANC can send that document to you so that you can read it. It has segmentized. You have agriculture, the economy, security, job. Everything is laid down in it. And how they're going to, when everything is laid down in it. Very clear, very clearly written. But people in the ANC, they focus more on Boyka studying land, controversial. I mean, controversial land, but Boyka choosing a running mate.
Because I'm sure you hear me talk about that business there. I'm sure. And I just spent my closing talking about something in the manifesto in terms of how he intends to increase the revenue for the country. I'm sure ecotourism is something that I've mentioned here before. I've mentioned agriculture. I have mentioned preventative care. Those are all things that I've mentioned here before, which are all included in his manifesto. When I'm doing my closing, I will talk about that.
Yeah. So, I should come in?
Yes, come in,
Cummings, Mr. Cummings has a very good platform. Mr. Cummings has a team that is willing to work. Mr. Cummings has a good intention for Liberia, but what Mr. Cummings is lacking is the publicity part. His team is more focused on other people's life or their political agenda than explaining to people what Cummings would do, how Cummings would do it. There are documents. I was in Liberia. That document you're talking about, Aaron, it's been with the ANC for long. I saw it before. They've been having it for a very long period of time. But the ANC folks in America and in Liberia are not able to even maintain a platform. Let's talk about just a radio platform. The ANC has never been able to maintain a radio platform where they will be able to, make that show one of the best shows or one of the best platforms in the country where they will express Cummings' message or send his message over to the people. But at the end of the day, they will go sit on other people's platform, and start getting versed how somebody is 90 years old. How someone did not go to school but they became president, they are not educated, the people they not know what they're doing. The time he's taking to talk about Jean Goodell Flomo hair getting big or he spent this, that, use that time to establish a platform
you represent
of Cummings, but they don't do it.
I don't think you guys are representing the way how ANC members present themselves, and surely you're not representing.
I've been with ANC people even before leaving Liberia.
Well, I'm just
nobody
saying,
in the ANC will tell you.
Me, when I make statements about Mr. Cummings, I usually draw a contrast.
You are one
between Mr. Cummings and Mr. Buckeye and Mr. Weah. I would actually map. Yesterday when I spoke, I was talking about Mr. Weah hiring all of the Southeasterners. Okay. And then, of course, I talked about how Mr. Buckeye how Mr. Buckeye how he tends to just say, be around people. Like, for example, Nukwe, when he had Nukwe as his vice president, there was a theme. This is our time. What did that mean? What implications did that have for our country? So I grouped those two people together and say, the difference between them and Mr. Cummings wants an inclusive government. He himself will tell you that. I think even the last time he spoke, he talked about having an inclusive country. So I don't know if you guys are framing the ANC.
No, you are just a single individual. You've been doing your best. ANC has over, let's say, 500,000 supporters. They have over 500,000 supporters. Listen to them everywhere. They will.
Yeah, after the show, I can get tired, so I can be listening to everybody.
Yeah, they don't. I always have the mentality that politics is not anger. Politics is sharing ideas that will make you.
I don't think I think it's your perception of.
Not my perception. This is reality. We can see.
I think a lot of people perceive ANC people as being some group of people that are angry or something. They're
always angry. Yeah, they appear angry.
They're always angry. Look at that. They all know that it's not. We just share differences and want better for Liberia.
We can open the land now. We can do experiment. We can do experiment and open the land for just 15 minutes. Let's listen to the callers, right? The ANC supporters, when they're speaking, you will know directly that guy or that woman is a supporter of ANC. And
why do you think that?
They will attack individuals without coming out with.
It is not an attack. They tell you the facts, James. I noticed that there are certain groups of people who like things kind of lie to them. You should lie to the Liberian people, but ANC people will tell you the Liberia that we have now is not the Liberia we want. A lot of ANC people persons they've been exposed to multiple systems, Liberian system, Ghanaian system, European system. So we want best for our country. And so we bring that system and deliver it. We're not going to sugarcoat things and say, oh.
And they were not exposed to the system of marketing.
What do you mean? I don't know why you say that.
To market their political leaders. Come again, Aaron.
Aaron, something going on here. James, I don't know what you mean by that.
I'll be back. I want to get the guests. I want to.
All right, Aaron. All right.
Oh, yes. Anyway. Thank you for the
I thought you
conversation.
said you'll be back, Aaron.
Thank you for the conversation, James. Good day. It's good having these, just chit chatting a little bit. There's some things that I think, you know, like you said, what contributes to trending news in Liberia. I think that's a fact. If you guys do not talk about what is going on until days later, and your focus is on, you know, somebody corner that you go in, like Aaron told you went to my.
When we told you that Kumi said he will not go as vice president yourself, you were the moderator that day, but you pick Boaka ahead of Cummins.
No,
and you went ahead. What was it that we talked about on Thursday? I think you were talking about VP pick again.
I share that. I talked about that. I said Mr. Cummins will not go as vice president to anyone. And I'm the only person among all the panelists who are not in favor of that. Go back to talk to Boaka and Cummins and say they might go together. I'm the only person who have been objecting to that. And that's the view that Mr. Cummins have shared. I even started talking about that before Mr. Cummins started talking about it publicly, right?
Yeah, you did that. So that is news. The journalists are not able to present all of the news. So what journalists do, they pick what they want the public to listen to, what they want the public to discuss. They go for them and pick them. It's universal, not just Liberia.
It is that you guys, we make the contrast between what, and this is what I think this
it's
is
everywhere, not only Liberia. That's journalism.
It's critics. Well, I mean, I would love for us to continue to make the contrast between the leaders.
Yeah,
that's it.
News is in the news business that competition. News
anyway,
yeah.
Let's welcome our guests.
So, the vice president, can I give her update?
Oh yes.
I know you guys will talk about it later. Yesterday, Niba County Senator Prince Ward Johnson accused the vice president of, saying that the people should hold the money and eat it at their money when, quote unquote, the printer, the 60 billion. And he said it was around the 2020 senatorial elections. The vice president spoke today. She addressed it. She said, yes, she made a statement, but it was not directed to Thomas Fowler. She said she made a statement in Bone County where she was telling her supporters or the people of Bone County to hold the money because those people were carrying the money. And she also confirmed that Bone County has a very high level of corruption. So at the time, in her mind, she believed that people were using money to attract votes. And she believed that that is not the right way to do it. So she was providing education for the people, telling them that when they bring your money, it is your money, your country money, hold the money and eat it. But the only part that she disagreed with Senator Johnson has to do with referring to Thomas Fowler. She said she was not talking to Thomas Fowler. Instead, the people of Bone County or the candidates who were taking part. And she also admitted that it did not happen at this time. Maybe she did not listen to Senator Johnson. Senator Johnson said in 2020. And she said it was, she agreed now that it happened in 2020, but her point was specifically about the people in Bone County, not Thomas Fowler. So the only difference there, Senator Johnson, in his claim, said she appeared on a talk show where she said that she hold the money that Thomas Fowler carried and eat it. She said, "You might eat the money, but I not Thomas Fowler." So I don't know. We have truth and.
Well, I believe I heard her say, James, and again, I was in between doing housework when she was talking, that people were using money to avert how people should vote. I think she used the word avert.
Yeah.
How people should vote in the county. So it's almost like saying that's an implication that people were paying people to vote a certain way, pay to play, which is one of the reasons why one of the we as public servant is in trouble against. That's what the Magnitsky Act caught that person for pay to play. You gone, Bobo, you can't talk now.
That mean?
Yeah, you're
Oh, I
you.
thought you were speaking. I want to give you time to finish. I 100% agree with you. And she just confirmed and indicted the government because those are government officials, right? And she also indicted the government of corruption in her statement. I have the video where she said there is, I'm sorry, that there is a high level of corruption in Bond County, and also saying people were using money to divert the people attention or to attract vote to themselves. That alone may not just be limited to Bond County, and
James,
uh,
I don't know if I can come in. Just I wanted to come in to say something.
yeah, that alone may not just be limited to Bond County, because the same thing she talked about that happened in Bond County, we saw similar things happening in other counties, including Monserrado County, and a very high-ranking member of the CDC was also allegedly involved into the same allegation that came up, and she confirmed that it was happening in her county, where she had to call on the citizens to get the money and eat it. So maybe, quote unquote, the CDC, that is their trick. And Senator Yala, she talked about Senator Yala, the former senator of Bond County, also joined the CDC before the 2020 senatorial elections. He joined the CDC. So basically, you had a supporter of the CDC who she was referring to, and other folks who were also doing the same thing. So the pay to play was at its peak in Bond County, as just like the way she said, it was there. But where we are yet to read it here, and I'm looking for that video. I think I saw that video during the 2020 senatorial election, but I'm still checking to see where I read it plays that video. Maybe I had it on YouTube or somewhere, but I will check it up. I will get that video before Tuesday. I will try to get that video. Yes, she made that statement in, I know it was in Bond County at a gathering where she was speaking to a group of people. Yes, but I've been trying to get a video. I'm yet to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, she said a lot today. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was, I was in between, different things, and I was listening to her bits and pieces. But Aaron, you wanted to come in. Do you? What do
Yeah,
you?
so I heard James talking about indictment or indicting the government.
Of
If the
corruption.
vice if the vice president spoke about politicians being corrupt, politicians are not only people in the ruling establishment. We got
Specifically
politicians.
emphasis on supporter of the ruling government.
She mentioned
Yala.
politicians
Yala.
within the
Yala.
Henry Yala at the time
Yeah. Yeah. Henry Yala.
was taking money to Bond Country to influence the the
Vote.
the, the, the votes.
Yeah.
Okay, but then that is clear. I thought she just spoke on a general scale that they should not allow money to influence their decision. Uh, based on the fact that some politicians were trying to influence them. But if it was specific to a CDC candidate, it means that the government she was indicting. But our guest is already here, so
Okay. All right. So let the guests give me a few minutes. Let me just say hello to some of our viewers. Let me just let's just get the guests ready, Aaron. And then we will have him come in. Let me just say hi to our viewers. I want to say hello to Samuel Cooper. Thank you very much for joining us. Johnson M. Twalawoyan, thank you for joining us. Solomon King, thank you for joining us. Prince Jimmy, thank you for joining us. Sarah Tooley, Moses Horton, J. Benedict Kolo Sanda, thank you for joining us. Hawa Soko, thank you for being here. Israel Jackson, he says, good evening, my Spoon family. Good evening to you as well. James Miawe, thank you for joining us. Seku Sese, thank you for being here. William Jala, thank you for being here. Who's that? Nakota Yama. Thank you. She's following us from, oh my God, this thing is going on so fast, I think. Emmanuel Faya is joining us as well. Yeah. Sorry, guys. The thing just starts to go. Pearl Campbell is watching from Atlanta, Georgia. G. Sisse is watching. Archie Sisse is watching us. Wilma Love Maryland something is watching us. Okay, guys, I want to thank you for joining us wherever you are. Please share the show. You guys know that you are a integral part of this program. Your comments are valuable. Please continue to comment. This tells me that you're thinking about Liberia. You you really enjoying the show. When I see you commenting, it doesn't matter what you say. It is your opinion. I respect other people's opinion. Someone say opinions are like noses. Everybody have one. So thank you for being here today. Share the show. I want to welcome Leo Johnson to the show. Leo, we missed you too by yesterday, but I understand why you couldn't be here.
Yes,
but yeah, I was imagining your interaction and your questions and stuff like that. But thank you. I'm glad to have you on the set with me today. We do have a guest today, but I will give you the opportunity because James and I were chit-chatting. They already have indicted me that actually the entire ANC person, not me specifically, and saying that, oh, we don't speak about Mr. Cummings a lot. I thought we're here to speak about news, but they want me to be talking about Mr. Cummings. So I will be talking about Mr. Cummings, which I think I do already usually at the end of my program. But I'm here to speak about what's going on in Liberia, not necessarily Mr. Cummings, although I do support Mr. Cummings, and I think he can bring change to Liberia. But Leah, let me give you maybe about a minute or so to just kind of tell the Liberian people hello, tell what's on your mind, and then we are going to go to our guest speaker today, Mr. Tukba Aro Kroye. Yes, Leo, go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Yeah, yesterday myself, I really wish I was on the show, but I missed it. So I watched you guys did an excellent job, though. I like how it got a bit heaty with old man Prince Johnson as well, but it is what it is. People say what they say, Dr. Richardson, and it doesn't matter what you do. One day, when you say something favorable about JMB, all the JMB people clap for you. Another day when you say something favorable about Cummings, all the Cummings people clap for you. Another day when you say something favorable to the government, all the government people clap for you. The day you criticize your own, even though someone like you who support Mr. Cummings, the day you criticize Mr. Cummings, you'll be surprised. Even some of the people who support Cummings will start thinking criticism does not mean rejection. Criticism just means we want you to get better.
Yeah.
So it means you can even do it to your own too. You can criticize your own, even the person you support. You can look at it and say the other decision you made, I don't think you're correct. You need to be better at it. So people gotta just get used to it. And that's what we do even in the Liberian community. When you disagree with our people, they take it so personal and think it's you hating them, when truth be told, I'm just disagreeing with you. You put two people in the room, you get 5 opinions, is the way I see it. But what's on my mind? Sarah Biasolo Nyanti is the person on my mind. We've been talking about competent Liberians. And I'm one person who always like to go around and admire Liberians for who they are, especially female leaders who we've often overlooked, we've often ostracized in Liberia for so many reasons, either because we're afraid of them. So I've been just reflecting over, we're talking about potential vice presidential picks. And it's so bad our politics have been dumbed down to the point that none of the competent, in my opinion, people are coming into the fray, because we're talking about which tribe you're from, which region you're coming from, how many tribal people may vote for you by putting you on the ticket. That the type of conversation we're having. And one thing you'll notice, Dr. Richardson, is that competent people try their best to not go down that route. They really try hard, because they will tell you, just because I'm from a certain tribe should not be the reason why you should identify with me, especially when the job we are vying for, they will not, what kind of tribe you are. Your duties and the things you got to do will have nothing absolutely. You'll not be president or vice president for your little tribe or for your little region. You'll be vice president, you'll be president for the whole country. So we're not supposed to be asking which tribe you're from. So Sarah Biasolo Nyanti, I'll just run on a few things about who she is. Some of you may have heard about her, an excellent Liberian woman. public service experience that cuts across development and humanitarian leadership, management, including local government, national government, and the international geopolitical governance as well. I mean, you can think about it. Liberia post-conflict, considered a post-conflict country and a failing state. And this is a woman who's led not just post-conflict country, but has been responsible for bringing peace, including creating a pathway for reconciliation to some of the most troubled countries in Africa. South Sudan, the Pope gave her a special recognition for her efforts in South Sudan, getting that state, which one of the newest countries, not just from conflict, but setting it on the path of governance, including Nepal, where she also resolved a 15-year stalemate on the war crimes court. She managed to deliver a war crime and transitional justice for Nepal. She also partnered with them on the graduation from being a least developed country to now a developing country. Now, who else in the world has received a direct commendation for their public service from the Pope, signaling them out by name? And he didn't just say, oh, thank God for the UN workers. He mentioned her by name for her leadership. They come from Grand Cape, Mount County, where she's from. She's remained connected despite her international engagement. She remained very connected there. They also settled in Mangibi, where they have a very strong investment, including their farm, her education. She's also a preacher. I didn't even know this, that she's also a preacher. She's been in community development for over 20 years. I'm just listing some of these things when people are ready to ask, oh, who left to be picked as vice president? As if to say, Liberia, that somebody village, that because you're not from a certain tribal group. So there are many more people left. If we raise the bar, that the people we want to lead us should be the reflection of excellence. The people we want to lead us should be the people you want your daughters and your sons to pray to God to become. And not the people who can only make us win election because they're from a certain tribal group. Because you know what happened, Dr. Richardson, when they win? The president group and the vice president group would tend to factions. They can't see each other. They're fighting each other because they're so little that the things they should be focused on. When you're not competent, you ever to go to the UN General Assembly and deliver a speech there? You ever to go to the World Bank spring meeting, sit down and deliver something, a compelling report that the people can work and say, my people, you're sending some money for the people, let the people carry it. You able to go to the IMF and debate with them that their decision is wrong and what they're proposing is not right and give them an alternative to where we're supposed to go? That the reason we get problem in the country because our people then they're begging. When they get at the bad things, so they're rating in black and white. They can't even read it. Anything you want to have from them, put it on paper. They just say, oh, yeah, we thank you. So no money there for, oh, yeah, let's take it. So that's what's on my mind. Competent Liberians today I decided to shine a spotlight on Sarah Besolo Nyanti. If no one has considered her yet, all of the meat, the potato, the chicken soup, the salt, the pepper, they make it take. You need the soup to make it correct. Sarah Besolo Nyanti got it for good governance. So you please start looking at her too. You who get the power in your head to select vice president.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you for mentioning Sarah Besolo Nyanti. Actually, I don't like to discuss some of these things, but Sarah cousins, Masa and Maxine Besolo, are kind of one of my best friends when we're growing up. So Sarah and I have crossed many paths along the way, but it's, this is not stuff that I like to kind of talk about. But yes, I'm proud of her. I'm proud of who she has become and is still growing. I want to welcome Fadiga. Fadiga is also here. Our guest is in the back. So guys, can we please hurry up? I don't like to keep my guests waiting. Just tell us what's on your mind. I will have time to do some reflection on what happened here yesterday. There's in group therapy, you always have to give an opportunity for people to reflect on their experiences from previous day or months or years. So we'll do that, but I want our guests to come in. Go ahead, Fadiga, just give us a minute or so. What's on your mind?
Well, we that let talking friendly when you hear 1 minute and always tend to 2 and 3. But Leah, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, if we were in a perfect world, what we'd be looking at, what we have to face with, there won't be any question. But we do not live in a perfect world. My dad used to always say, and every time we my brother and myself have confusion, as a kid, we always want to be right. He said, am I right? And then, my dad would say, son, the only right you have is the one that you can defend evenly and successfully. If you cannot defend it, forget it, give it up. It's not your right. And this is not an issue of right and wrong. Right now, the issue of morality is not even in our definition. I mean, I'm not saying we can talk about it, but the issue of morality and all those different things that make other countries great, we are far from it. We are far from so many things. We are far from education. We are far from a lot of things that make other countries prosper. We are getting there, and with a little bit of talking here and there and changing leadership, we could get there. I'm sure we'll get there, but we are far from that. So
Yes.
I narrow myself down to where we are now, what we are faced with, and that's why I call myself a realist. My stance on most social political issues are guided by first patriotism and certain guiding principles. I've always looked at the bigger picture in every situation. I look at the bigger picture. I try to analyze from both sides. You see, everybody, one thing we can agree with that Liberia is heading off the cliff, and we must bury our pride and personal ego and rescue that country. That is what on my mind. We need to rescue that country from President Weah and put it back in, even if not the best hand, but the lesser evil, the safer hand, to stop the bleeding, and then we can continue, because that's the only way. We got to take baby steps. So that is what guiding us, and I have been reliably informed that Senator Kuhn is the guy. I think this source is 100%. That have cleared all my doubt about the Costa and Nyombri. People say, why I call Nyombri. I'll try to
Senator Kanga too.
Senator Kanga Lawrence. Her name is Nyombri. I know that sometimes it's just but and it seems that Kuhn is going to be the guy. But I might tell you something. So I told you my maternal grandmother is a Mano woman from Nima County. So Kuhn is my cousin. I consider my cousin. So I'm just saying that it's so funny. It's so funny that we have to boil down to this. In the next couple of days, I'm going to take a step back and actually reflect on the decision we have to make. I want to hold most of what I want to say, go into detail into my opinion on certain things for now until after the 28th when Burka should have made that decision and something. But it's going to get messy.
Absolutely.
And my role at that time would be to ensure that we do not make it messier to the point that we hand deliver the presidency to George Weah.
Yes. Thank you, Fadiga. I would like to take this time to bring in our guest, Mr. Toga. I can't see the last name there, but he's going to come in and tell us a little bit. Yes, please bring in James. Yes. Hi, Mr. Port. Oh, we're not hearing you. Please.
I'm coming. I think you can hear him now. Please speak.
Hello, Mr.
Good
Port.
evening, Dr. Richardson. And
Oh, yes. Absolutely, we can hear you. I'm excited for hearing you. Something's working in Monrovia at this point.
Things working in Monrovia. Don't say it like that, dog. We got some working things. The only thing that not working there are the other part, but let's leave it alone.
What other part you talking today? We're talking.
Goodness, stop pointing your finger, my beginning.
I know why you're going.
We struggle sometimes with our different instruments in the studio, although for the most part they work perfectly, but I get nervous, as you know, moderating the show, that everything should kind of coordinate and works perfectly. So I get excited when I can hear you. I want to welcome you to the show. This is your second time here. I remember having you here before. Can you please tell us, I also have just to introduce Leo Johnson to you. I don't know if he was here the last time you're here. Al Hussein Fadiga is also here today. They graciously are spending their Saturday with me. So it's good to have you here. Can you just tell us a little bit about why you're here, your history of being here in the past, just in case if they were not here? And then we'll probably ask you some questions.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson, for welcoming, I will say us, because I represent the National Board of Nimba Kwado Liberia Incorporated. Nimba Kwado means Nimba, we are one. And I want to say good evening to Mr. Fadiga, and I want to say good evening to Mr. Johnson, And I saw a good day. But I also want to say good evening to my friend Aaron in the building here with me,
Yes.
and all of the Liberians in TV and radio land. And I want to say a special good evening to Nimba Kwado. And I would say it like this: Nimba Kwabura, Nimba Bavu, Nimba Mwere, Nimba Yaunwe, Nimba Nura. Those are some of the dialects that we speak in
Sounds
Nimba
so good.
country. And we are proud to represent all of the interest group and the dialects of Liberia. Nimba Kwado is a non-political institution, non-religious institution, non-ethnic institution that represents the interests of Nimba citizens in Nimba and around the world. We have 15 coordinators in the 15 counties. Sometimes they're called presidents, but in our constitution, they're called coordinators. We have a national board that is made of 9 persons from out of the 9 districts that represent Nimba County. We have a 14-man executive committee, a man, let me say man and woman, being gender sensitive. I know Dr. Richardson is very gender sensitive, so let me do that so I don't forget that in Nimba County we have at least 45 to 50% of our population that are women, and in around Liberia we have even more. So we thank God to be on this show this evening. And I came back here, and I thank you for inviting us back, because you said that and when we have settled our matter, or when we have taken our decision, you will give us the opportunity to be back here. So we are very honored to be back in the name of Nimba Kwado. And Dr. Richardson, let me tell you that you've been moderating well. I'm sorry that my good friend, the cartel breaker, is not on tonight.
The cartel destroyer.
I call him the cartel breaker because we used to work together. I'm talking about the person of Eugene Fagon, who I had the honor to work with many times. But I want to say to all of you, thank you for having us. And we're here tonight to talk about the decisions that the board have made and the outcome of our investigation. And we want to tell the Liberian people that we've solved most of our problem, not all, because you can never solve all the problems, and but we solved most of our problems, and we hope that we've made the right decision for the forward movement of Nimba Kwado Liberia Incorporated. And as we go on and days follow, we'll see how we are progressing. So it is good to be on tonight. And if you want me to continue to talk, because I sometimes like to go through the interview and the questions and then answer the question and I repeat myself. So if you want me to continue to talk, I can talk a little bit. But
so, Mr. Port, can you just update my panelists and the audience? There was a conflict. Some members of your group decided to endorse George Weah not too long ago, right? And that sort of created some tension within the group. And so you guys came to some sort of resolution within the group, which is why you're back to tell us. But can you just go back a little bit to that conflict that was in the group, just in your words, what happened, and then bring us to speed as to where you are right now with the conflict?
Thank you. We had a conflict that cumulated from we're in April now, and in March 4th of this year, the president of the group of the organization Nimba Kwado, in the person of Mr. Isaac Zidan, who is now removed from office by the board, took a decision without consulting the board nor consulting the membership of the organization, and went to an invitation presented to him that he said was presented by President George Weah and the CDC political party. He asked our executive board to go along with him, and him being the leader of the executive board, most of the executive board members decided they will be there to support him because the president has something to say to them. In our organization, we welcome invitation from anybody, whether you are a political leader or whether you are a religious leader or whether you are an ordinary citizen, so that because we're a non-for-profit entity, and under the laws of Liberia and our constitution, we can speak to anybody. So that was not the issue. that he went there. The issue was that when he went there before the president could even speak. They came up with a decision and a resolution without consulting the board to endorse the second term bait of President George Weah and the CDC, and say it was Nimba Quado Liberia Incorporated. So we, the board, got the information, thankfully, from your organization. You perhaps broke the news to say that there was a clandestine activity taking place because of what was happening. People who were there observed that the petition that was read was written by the bathroom door, and it was also done by help of some seditionists who were from Nimba County that thought that they could use the organization to their benefits. So after that endorsement was made without the board consent, the board came up with the board called the president to ask him some questions. He said that the invitation that was given to him had a wrong date or whatever the situation is, even though we call him personally and to come on to a meeting so we can hear why he did so. He did not attend the meeting. And out of our meeting the following day, we thought it wise to recall the endorsement, because our organization do not endorse political institutions, and let me say we do not endorse, we don't do politics, for lack of a better word. Our interest is in promoting the interests of Nimbadians. And when we say Nimbadians, those who are our members and the citizens from Nimba County, this is the exact dictates of our constitution and our bylaws and our registration. So endorsing any political institution, be it if it was my party or any other political party, would be wrong in the constitution, would be a constitutional violation. So the next day we then asked, after we didn't see him at our meeting and anybody to represent the interests, the board suspended him and the other corporate who was the assistant youth chair, the acting assistant youth chair, in the person of brother Ashman Vonle. And after the suspension, we then called a meeting and we told the press, and you all invited us, and we spent some time here explaining why we did so. However, the following Monday of that week, we had a meeting and we did a press conference saying that by our constitution, we set up an investigation, a special investigation committee, because the ethics chair was also at this endorsement. So most of the people who had endorsement, we could not again follow our constitution, because most of the people who were supposed to be acting on the constitution in terms of the executive leadership were at this meeting, and it was at a meeting by the call of the president. So we set up a special investigation committee outside of the executive body that have already been put together, because we felt that most people who were supposed to be even investigating were already compromised. So based on that, we set up that group, and it was a 4-man team that was made of a journalist who is a member of the organization, another former development superintendent of Nimba County, and our women's children chairperson who was not at the meeting. And then we also put in somebody who was at the meeting to be on the committee, because he did not play a very active role in the stuff. He was the youth coordinator for Montserrado County. So these were the people who did the investigation, and we gave them 2 weeks to do the investigation, and they took almost 3.5 to 4 weeks. Every time we tried to push the investigation, they said that they had to, talk to more people who are not coming, who are not making themselves available. We gave them a mandate to investigate the incident at Jamaica. Anyway, they went and did the investigation. Instead of just investigating the incident at Jamaica, they thought they had to investigate the entire Nimba Quado. However, they brought their decision, and in their decision, they stated that the president was wrong for the endorsement. He violated the Constitution in the article that we stated. They also brought some issue where they said that the board was hasty in making their decision. In their decision, and the board had to take certain steps. And then after the investigation, they recommended that the body come back to status quo. Their status quo meant that we bring the president back to office along with the violators and wherever the situation was. And that was what they consider as a punitive measure. In my opinion, that the punitive measure that we take, and not only my opinion, but the opinion of the board and the constitution of our organization, our punitive measures are within our constitution. We're not people who are governed by our minds, our thoughts. We're governed by a document.
Mr.
So,
Port, for the sake of
yeah.
time, can you just bring us up? Did you guys expel Mr. Isaac Don?
Initially, we suspended him and the acting youth chair. On yesterday, we removed Mr. Isaac Don from the presidency of Nimba Kwadwo. We dissolved the entire board, and we reinstituted the entire executive leadership, and we reinstituted a leadership by the dictates of our constitution. Also, of our convention, the board of directors are the one who appoints all of the executive committee leadership. Our organization is put in that way because we did not want the kind of politicking that goes on in Liberia, where people feel that they can use their political weights and their political alliances to move organizations. So we purposely put our constitution in that way. So as of today, Mr. Isaac Don is no more the president of Nimba Kwadwo. We're putting in a new president who is Brother J. Randall Fangalo. He was the writer of the Constitution. He was the chair of the Constitution Committee.
Sorry, support. I'm going to give you. I think we have a gist of what went on in your organization. If you don't mind, we can begin just asking you questions just to.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with the question. I mean, I told you wanted to give your history. You see, that's what I said. Don't let me talk too much, because when you give those, you can talk. Like Father God said, when you let her talk, and then tell Leo, you see, when I hear Leo talking, my son can be inspired. So this is more time.
I don't mean to interrupt. I tend to be very courteous to my guests, but I just want to make sure. I think we got the gist of what happened. I'm going to now go on to Leo to just ask you your two questions, and then we'll go to Fadiga, and then, of course, you'll come back to me. So, go ahead, Leo.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson, and good to see you again, Mr. Port.
Thank you.
As I was listening, and thank you for bringing us up to speed with the genesis of the situation and how far it's gotten so far. My question to you, as I'm sitting here thinking, is around the removal of the president. Clearly, like you said, the investigation I was conducted saw that the president violated the Constitution by taking a unilateral decision in the name of the association or the organization. Does the Constitution expressly give you the authority? I'm assuming it's the board that took that decision. Does the Constitution gives the board? First of all, is the president elected?
The president is not elected. The president is appointed by the board. All the executive leaders are appointed by the board.
Okay, and then does the Constitution give the board the express authority to remove the president? And if that is the case, do you think removing the president for one-time offense or first offense, you can correct me if I'm wrong, if there's been multiple offenses, removing the president for one offense that was committed against the Constitution, is that in line with the Constitution, with the board removing him? Do you think it was prudent to remove him for one offense?
I beg to say to you that it was not a one-time offense. The president was removed for this particular offense because the president has been warned. The president has been asked to come to meetings, to come and make certain decisions for the organization that he's refused to do. And he's been asked to make reports and everything like that. And he's always asked for certain. I don't want to go into all of that because it's not a part of what we're speaking about. We're not here to demean anybody's character. What we're here to do is to keep an organization moving forward. We do not want to bring a division within the organization, and our concern is to build the image of an organization. We feel that when the president, after he was giving the term to express remorse, he didn't do it. Matter of fact, he kept on going to the different county leaders and asking them to come. He made an announcement on radio after his suspension, and after we said everything should be harder, he went made an announcement and he carried a voter registration in the name of CDC. He insisted that what he has said was correct. All right, so those things, he did not show remorse. Matter of fact, let me just say to you that the acting youth chair was reinstated to his position because he showed remorse. He didn't. He stood. He stood still after his endorse. He was one of the endorser. He stood still. We reinstated him. So this was not an act of, like the president. We didn't look at the one-time situation or situations that were carried on. The fact that he was persistent and insisted that he will support CDC, whether the board like it or the membership like it or whether the Constitution says so. Matter of fact, he even said that the Constitution that he signed at our Constitutional Convention was a draft, and we have copy of the Constitution. So for a president who is one of the longest serving members of our organization to say that he will not follow a constitution that he was the one who called the convention along with us to adopt the Constitution. He was the one with us in Nimba County in 2021 that went with us to the National Convention that brought forth the Constitution. He was the one who always said the organization is not a political organization. The problem that we have from the board, Leo, is that, Brother Johnson, if I can say it's that, the problem that we have from the whole thing is that we believe that Nimba Kwado, the single largest citizen organization in Liberia, non-for-profit, should be an entity that will show or will help to bring a sense of peace, organization, not political structure, but constitutional structure to our country. Our country is suffering today because people think things instead of doing what they're asked in their assigned situation. They say, the person that my interest in this organization, the interest of Nimba Kwado is the membership interest and the constitutional interest. It's not about an individual. The president is a friend of mine. The president was the first person that I spoke to before I became the chairman of the board. Matter of fact, he, along with a group of Nimbadians, almost 6.5 years ago, asked me to be the chairman of the board. So this is a president that we have very close tie. But if you want to move an institution, the people who watch, check, and balance the institution should also be strong enough to say something went wrong here. We have to fix it, and decisions should be made when that person has not done their job. And that's what the board did.
Thank you very much, Mr. Port. My last question here would be, do you have any concerns that there may be some backlash giving the board's decision to remove Mr. Isaac Dan as president? Do you have any concerns at all that Mr. Isaac Dan may come back and that could create some potential issues or splinter factions in the organization?
Let me say to you that you asked a prophetic question because it is happening right now. But the board understood that those things will happen because this guy served a very long time, and I can see the meaning behind your question. We took that into consideration. But if we were worried about backlashes, we will not make decisions in our lives. Backlash, the Constitution is ready for backlash. The Constitution spoke to backlash. The Constitution, the board also took into consideration the services Brother Dan has made for our organization. We can't sit here and say he's not done good services for our organization. We'll be lying to ourselves. However, in good service, people should be responsible to their duty. People should be responsible to do what is asked of them, and they should not dictate to lead to a whole organization that have different views and diverse understanding. Our organization is almost like a country. We have representatives in sectors in 15 counties. We have representatives in sectors around the world. We are not just a organization in Liberia. We've been asked by the United Nations.
It looks like he froze right in the middle of his answer there.
Yes, and this is some of my worry when I talk about how things
happen when you ask her question.
Now the come here, I get happy. The flower pile coming out with Isaac Dan forming a own group.
That's exactly what's going to happen. You know, I would like to separate, divide, and form our own group. So, anyway, if you're watching Spoon, we just we're having some technical difficulty in Monrovia. We had Mr. Porter responding to Leo Johnson's question. And of course, we have Al Hussein Fadiga here with us. Okay, are you back, Mr. Port? We had a little glitch there.
I was seeing nobody, so I had to call him as he went to the bathroom for a quick second. Yeah.
Oh, good. Now we can see you. And go ahead. Can you finish quickly respond to Johnson's question, and then we'll go to.
I was saying that the fact that I wanted to say that it's not as if to say we don't recognize the job that our former president did. However, a violation was done. It was putting our organization in a disarray. And we, in this particular time in Liberia, as you all know, everybody's talking politics. We don't want to take our organization to no political institution. We don't want our organization to be a political institution. This is the time in Liberia to set example and to have a group that if there's confusion in the country, we can sit and be a non.
Amen. I don't know what happened here.
I know.
Yeah. So I think you were saying that they wanted to be non-political, and that if they're
I think he answered my question.
Okay, good.
He said there are already backlashes coming up as a result.
Okay, which is kind of what you suspected anyways, right? Fadiga, when he comes back, then we can go into.
When he comes back, my question can be political.
Well, good. I was going to ask. I mean, this is a political show.
Oh no, my question is going to get really, really political. I wonder
what he thinks about what Prince Johnson said yesterday. Prince Johnson got political.
But Prince Johnson always mentions Nima Kwado. When he talks, he's always like, "Yeah, our people in Nima Kwado too. All of them know." So
okay.
He always does that. Always he references Nima Kwado.
Okay.
He coming. I got a lot for him to talk about.
Good.
All the secret in that going on, you got to put thought inside. So.
Yeah, so I don't think hiding behind "I'm not political" will cut it here tonight.
Here's my thing. If Nima Kwajo is to advance the interests of Nimadian, well, there's a Nimadian right now on a list, on the top ticket. We need to explore that and get into it. I'll be interested in knowing whether they are part of the organization, whether Kuhn is part of the organization, whether Senator Johnson is part of the organization. I want to know their view on Senator Kuhn. We also want to know so many other things. Joseph Boakai, his view on Ambassador Boakai. Want to know his views on Mr. Cummings and the entire political stuff. Want to know Nima Kwajo Senate for Peace, the voter registration, the census. They need to give us their opinion. They are non-political, but those are social issues that I'm sure if problem come today, they will have to address as well.
That's a fact, Fadiga, and it's so interesting considering the history of Nimba in our body politics. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to sort of differentiate, what is non-political and what is political. I mean,
everything is political. Everything depends on how you want to say it. I mean, everything that goes political. Even religion.
That politics for me because someday when I come back, I'm going to say, that politics.
You cannot divorce politics from our everyday life. I mean, even in the church, they got politics.
Oh, yeah. That if politics can happen. So, well, we don't know. Aaron Kuban, are you setting him up to come back on? Because we have another 10 minutes to go with the show, and then we got to go into some talking about our thoughts about yesterday and going to the phone lines and then going to our closing comments.
Yeah, so, we can keep waiting. We have to.
Go ahead.
Stuff. I will save my question for him. Probably I can.
I see that his name just got put up on the screen here. So I don't know if he's coming right with it. I'm pretty working on it. There we go. Yeah, he is.
Nima Kwajo behind the DJ seat.
Nima Kwajo.
I used to try to be a former DJ, brother.
I think you do a fine job. You got a voice, you got the rhythm.
I can't sing well, but I can talk well, brother.
I know.
So, Mr. Port, for the sake of time, we're going to go to Mr. Fadiga to ask you some questions. So, go ahead, Fadiga.
Mr. Port, I know you guys are trying to stay away from the politics, but there is no way we can shy away from politics. I think everything we do is guided by politics. So I'll go straight into this. According to you, if I can quote you right, you said Nima Quadri is to advance the interests of Nimadians around the world. Two prominent Nimadians names have popped up in our political landscape. Not that they are any new to our politics, but they are veering in a very prominent direction. The vice president. My sources, if it is right, anything right, Jeremiah Kuhn is on the top list of Ambassador Boycott. My first question to you is he or Senator Prince Johnson, are they part of Nima Quadro? Are they members?
Both Jeremiah Kuhn, Senator Johnson, and Tiawon Gonglo, a member of Nima Quadro. They are members who have made some wonderful amount of contribution. Other prominent Nimadians have made great contribution to Nima Quadro. Nima Quadro is a card-holding membership organization. It's also a affiliate membership organization, and it's also a organization by the fact that it's a non-political and non-profit. It's an organization that people who give us financial help, we work with them. We work with even the very government that have helped. Matter of fact, the government gave us a scholarship to our youth chair, who is now in China studying, doing his master's degree. So we have worked with everybody, and so I heard you saying before I came on that everything in Liberia is politics. We in Nima Quadro understand that everything is politics, but also the citizen interests must be spoken for, and there are now a lot of people speaking for the citizens' interests. I have no political intention as the chairman of the board. All right, I am in the political party, and several.
Hey man, this thing is just.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, I draw we are again. Part of the proper agenda.
Yeah, it's supposed to have
for everything. When the other one never saw it doing my anytime.
Internet connectivity.
Internet connectivity was okay. Our data they used to last. Our men I can't even the data say wearing a money suit.
Yeah, goodness. But anyway, you are asking a really great question, Fadiga, about the politics. But I think when he comes back, and if he's listening, I think that he's not answering the question.
He will answer the question. The thing can be there because he already finished answering the first one. We know that Senator Prince Johnson is a card-holding member of Nima Quadro.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Kuhn is a card-holding member of Nima Quadro. Mm-hmm. Councillor Tiawon Gonglo is a card-holding member of Nima Quadro. Mm-hmm. So, if they are card-holding member of Nima Quadro, one of the interests of Nima at this time is to produce the next vice president. And say when I'm wrong, or the boycott camp is wrong, this will be an interest that I'm sure this non-political or apolitical institution will have to tell us whether they're going to be helping to advance that cause, or they're going to sit on the sideline. There will be a fine line that we have to talk. So we want to know that whether they just want to stay on the sideline because it has reached to the point. This is the second highest office in the land. So I want to see if they will maintain the apolitical status, or they will want to give the voice or the heart behind those people. Tiawon Gonglo too, how they will jive with another son in the race. Tiawon. So I hope Mr. Port can come back and address some of those issues.
Definitely. I think you're bringing up some good food for thought here, Fadiga. How can you be apolitical, but at the same time say that you're trying to promote Nimadians? Nimadians are in the heat of politics in Liberia. So let's see how he maneuver in answering such a question. Obviously, I it's so funny you say I'm a good talker. It's interesting. Okay, anyway, well, let's just Leo, what are your thoughts? What's going through your mind right now as we listen to some of the things that Mr. Port, I don't know whether he's coming back or not.
He talked about strong institutions and governance systems, and it's fascinating. And Fadiga was alluding to some of it, that we're not in a perfect world. I don't like when people say that as if someone asking for a perfect world. No, we are asking for an orderly world. We are asking for a better world that is not the bastion of corruption. We cannot be massaging corrupt activities and be saying, that the reality, that the place we are, and then when it bursts up in our faces, then we say, oh, the country is bad, they're heading down the drain, the people have opportunity. Yeah, because we massaged them from the beginning. So I'm sorry for us to be talking about.
Isn't that the reality?
It's not the reality, my brother. We got other countries that are doing better.
No, I mean for Liberia.
No, so the reality does not mean conformity.
No, but by saying the reality doesn't mean we are conforming though.
So if the reality is bad, should we just do it?
Well, you have to.
So the reality is bad. Do you agree that the reality right now is bad?
You see, this is where we differ.
No, I'm just asking, do you agree right now that the reality in Liberia...
It doesn't matter what I believe.
Okay, the reality in Liberia right now...
No, I mean, you and myself on the same page on one thing. That's why I always say two things can be right, two things can be wrong. It doesn't matter what I feel. Do the people on the ground feel the same way?
No, that's not my question, though. The people on the ground, let me ask you a very important question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did the people on the ground, when they were voting for Charles Taylor to come, did we feel that it was going to lead us to another full-scale civil war?
No, I don't think so.
But the indicators of people who understand international politics was very clear to them that this was going downhill, because Charles Taylor rejection by the entire international community, by the United States, and he himself said it later on in hindsight. You think if anybody knew if our people on the ground understood the full indicators and implications of what could have happened, do you think they would have still gone down that route, except in that year we're happy let World War I come, World War II come the way it came in Liberia?
No, they will have made different decisions.
So my point is, let us position ourselves to take the beating and start to take the right path, even if we lose an election. Let's not sacrifice the country's future for the sake of an election.
But what if you keep losing and keep losing?
You lose multiple. If every time you help 10 people get to the better side and you lose, great. I'd rather keep losing and bringing more people over to the better side than keep winning and plunging the country deep and deeper.
How sure are you that more people are coming?
Guys, we have Mr. Port is back. Mr. Port, it looks like we had some problems in you responding to
the team want me to answer my question.
Yes, Funny Guy has some follow-up questions for you. You are beginning to talk about the fact that you have permanent members like Councilor Gongo, Senator Kuhn, Senator Prince Johnson in Nimba Kwado. And then, on the other hand, you are saying that this is a non-political organization, but these guys are very political in our country. But I'll let Fadiga finish asking his questions. I don't want to steal his question from him. So go ahead, Fadiga.
Not the fertilization of idea. But what she was alluding to,
may I, Father God, just let me say that I just want to respond to a quick second to Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, Nimba Kwado is made of citizens of Nimba who are in every sector of Liberia, business, politics, market women, young men, young women, educated women. Matter of fact, several of our members are running several of our members run entities in this country that is not political. We don't decide what a citizen does. What we decide what happened to the organization. So we didn't say, there's nowhere in our constitution that say you cannot be a politician, you cannot be a reverend, you cannot be a imam, or wherever you want to be, a traditionalist and be a part of our organization. Our organization represents the interests of Nimbadians, whoever and whatever they are.
Yes, and I think Fadiga would then go into the question again. I don't want to steal. I do know where he's coming from. I don't want to steal that question away from you. I'm itching to do that, but go ahead, Fadiga.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, I don't know whether you heard me from the back. What we're trying to say is that Mr. Kuhn, Senator Kuhn is on the list. According to our source, to be the VP for Ambassador Boyka. We all know Boyka has some momentum now. He could well come second to President Weah. So we have a Nimadian that is very close to becoming the vice president if Boyka, this UP wins. Are you going to support him? Give any kind of support politically or whatever support to him, knowing that he's on Nimadian, you're going to need his interests advanced.
That's the question. All right. The Nimba Kwadwo will not endorse a political party. The membership of Nimba Kwadwo in their respective political parties can endorse whoever they want to do as members. For public disclosure, I am a member of MDR, the party that Jeremiah Kuhn comes from. Jeremiah Kuhn, Senator Jeremiah Kuhn, Senator Prince Johnson, Councilor Talwon Gonglo, other members of other political parties. Matter of fact, our vice chairman for the board is running on ANC ticket in District Number 5. What we will not do is that we will not endorse a political party. A citizen of Nimba County who is not competing against another citizen of Nimba County anywhere around Liberia, Nimba Kwadwo will ask her leadership, her people to do what they feel is right to do for that citizen. Remember, we stated in our constitution that the interests of the citizen of Nimba County must be promoted. This is not something hidden.
So how are you going to promote his interest? That means to cut you. How are you going to promote his interest? How is Nimba how will Senator Kuhn benefit from the Nimba Kwadwo?
Well, I'm not specifically talking about Senator Kuhn, but
I'm specifically talking about him.
I'm just saying, I'm answering the question from the perspective you gave it. In my opinion, not in my opinion, but in the opinion of Nimba Kwadwo Constitution and the board, any citizen of Nimba County that is a member of Nimba Kwadwo can choose to support whether it be Senator Kuhn or
let me rephrase the question. How is Nimba Kwadwo going to help Senator Kuhn advance his interest? How are you guys going to do it? How would it open
Nimba Kwadwo is not going to endorse a political party. Is Senator Kuhn a member of Nimba Kwadwo? Yes. Will Senator Kuhn ask Nimbadians around Liberia to support him for presidency? Yes. Those people who are members of Nimba Kwadwo, if they want to endorse Senator Kuhn as a citizen of Nimba County, they can do so. That's how they do it. But this organization will not do it.
What do you guys do?
What we do is this. We like I just told you before you left, we have a youth member who we got a scholarship for to go to China to get his master's. He's the chairman of our youth organization. He went to do conflict development and conflict resolution. I think Leo was talking to you about people who should come and bring a solution to Liberia's problem. Before I left the line, I said to all of you that Nimba Kwadwo wants to be in the position that if there should be conflict in Liberia, we should be sitting at the seat to help resolve that conflict. Not every day going to the United Nations, going to foreign countries to tell us they can't solve our problem, that we small children. In our society, we have nobody who can stand up and say truth to power. Nimba Kwadwo want to say truth to Senator Prince Johnson, Jeremiah Kuhn, whether it be our president. The guy who was just appointed to the presidency asked the president at that meeting, Mr. President, you call us and say you want to speak to us. What do you say? The president did not answer that question. That's what you, Nimba Kwadwo, do. Explain to us what you want from us, and we, the citizens who own Liberia, must have the responsibility to take control of producing a good country like you argue for. It is not politics that would build our country. It is citizens who have opinion and who have decision-making ability that will take that should be able to run our country. Not a political institution that don't include everybody. If you're not in the political party, then you're not Liberian. If you're not in the political party, you can't get a job. That's not what we stand for. We are a citizen group that promotes the interest, whatever interest that is good for the rebuilding of our country and of our county. That's what we stand for.
So it is safe to say that Nima Quadro will not, anytime during this coming election, support any political institution or any individual for Nima politically.
We are not saying we're not support. We're saying we're not endorse.
So that means we're going to do it in the back end.
If the citizens of Nima Quadro wants to do it, if those people who are members, not citizens, if those who are members want to endorse their candidate for the president, they can do it as individual, but not in the name of Nima Quadro. It's simple.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Father God. Excellent question, though. Thank you.
Dr. Leo, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, I heard you talk about Nima Quadro wanting to be in a position, especially for advancing solutions to problems and being able to speak truth to power. It brought something to my mind. This is a bit off topic, but in the context of Nima Quadro, we know there have been ongoing multiple land disputes in Nima County. In fact, one of them we follow very closely on Spoon. We brought some of the actors on Spoon multiple times. Some of them now literally threatening the peace in the county and threatening to even go tribal with Mandingos or the Gills and all the stuff that's been going on. And this has remained a stalemate for so long, from President Sirleaf time up to this time. We still have this stalemate going. Has Nima Quadro seen an opportunity to kind of step in the fray here and figure out what can be done outside of ongoing government efforts that seem to basically be going in circles? Because it seems like every 2-3 years, this stuff flares up. People get killed. The last time people were even killed when we follow it as well. And then it flares down a little bit, and then it goes back up without any solution to really bring it to an end.
Thank you. That's an excellent question. Matter of fact, I would say to you, yes, Nima Quadro was asked to serve as a member of that committee that would bring resolution to some of these land problems in Nimba. And what we recommended was that we sit with the family. Our president, the guy who was just removed from office, was a part of that decision making. And so I'm saying to you that the guy we remove has done some good things, and our organization has done some good things under his watch and his stewardship. All right, so we have been a part of making recommendations for the solution to the land issue in Liberia. Matter of fact, when we became the chairman of this organization and board members, some of our Mandingo citizens, our Mano citizens and Gio citizens, and all of them who were involved in this thing, said to us, we hope that Nima Quadro will be able to help us bring solution to some of these things or recommend solutions. We've done that. But you know that, I think this is the power of Father God said that most things are political in Liberia. When you ask people who are non-political to get involved in situations, they ask you for your documents that represents the interest of what the government and what the law says. The law, not even the government, what the law say. If the law say the person with the oldest deed or the person that has the deed should be the person who has owners to that particular land, that person should have their land. It's a simple matter. But then in Liberia, it will be switched so, it will be done so, it will be done that other way, and it will not go. So if we, Nima Quadro, can have the intestinal, that people say, intestinal fortitude to tell those people who are corporates of this land issue, listen, this is what we see. We cannot go out there and say that, oh, you must give this person this property, but what the law says must happen is what Nima Quadro say must happen. The only thing that govern us, my sister and brother were interviewing me, and those of us who are out there in radio land, TV land, the only document that govern us in this world is a document that all of us sat down and we certify our constitution. Is it being implemented rightly? Is it being done right? Is it being taken? Is it being respected? Is it personal interest or national interest? That is what Nima Quadro stands for. Give the citizens of Liberia their rights.
Mr. Paul, I'll make a quick follow-up here before Dr. Richardson coming. I guess what I was getting to, besides Nima Quadro participating in these government-related efforts, which again are great. Obviously, you need the government in some of these things. Specifically, as a county-based association, Nima Quadro, having the home connections, the tribal connections, and the elders and all of those people within the context of the county, has there been any additional independent effort by Nima Quadro, given the government efforts, like you said, it gets wrapped up in the politics of the day? Even when the right solutions are put on the table, people twist it and spin it in all kinds of ways because of what they want out of it, rather than just going straight to the issue. Has Nimba Kwado independently seen itself, being from Nimba, especially all the members being from Nimba and having stake in the issue, whether it goes right or wrong, has Nimba Kwado intervened or found a way or seen exploration for how it can intervene within the Nimba context outside of the complicated, politically stained governmental processes in place?
We have, and we have made recommendation to both families and both landowners. We have.
Thank you. That's
Okay.
all.
Yes. So I heard you say that the organization tend to use a guiding question, and the question is whatever you guys do in Nimba Kwado, is it a personal interest versus a national interest? Am I correct on that?
We said it's it. What we do in Nimba Kwado is for the citizens of Nimba that are members of Nimba Kwado. And those people who have intention of who we do consider as have intention of being a part of the organization. That's what we do. When we spoke to the national issue, we said that we want to be a part of helping to solve national problems because of our nationality to Liberia. We're Liberians. Nimba Kwado can never take itself or herself outside of Liberia, but we as citizens, Dr. Richardson, how many times have you heard that in Liberia that the citizens did a march, peaceful march? I'm talking about destroying the country, a peaceful march to move issues that will work, like you do. They did the Million Man March in America, even though it turned political against certain situation. When the Muslims did I'm not a Muslim. When what the guy named not Elijah Muhammad, the guy who represents the repentant Muslims in America, when he did his march, his 1 million man march, the people allowed him to do his march. He did his march peacefully and he left. Liberians should begin to march on issues that means well for the country. Our country, let me tell you this, the city of Monrovia, you walk around and you've been here, you talk about it. Our city is dirty. That is what I say to people, that is what caused most of the biggest sickness in Liberia. You know what it is? They call it, they say, what the thing name?
Dysentery?
No, not dysentery. Malaria and this thing here that is from malaria and what?
Cholera?
No, not cholera. The thing that
Typhoid.
Typhoid?
No, not malaria and typhoid.
Okay.
What causes typhoid? Typhoid is caused by, excuse me for the expression, poo-poo and dirt.
And the water and
the water.
Yeah.
All right. So how many times have we citizens say, "Oh, let's forget what government doing and help to clean the place around our surrounding"? We, the citizens, need to begin to do some of those things and begin to help ourselves to stop ourselves from typhoid. We don't do that. So there has to be conscientization in our society. Nimba Kwado wants to be a part of that conscientization. The only thing we have that happen here is that we don't have the kind of money to do so. So for me, I want to see citizens who will contribute to us and hold Nimba Kwado responsible for making citizens' decision. That's what we want to see in Nimba Kwado. That's what Nimba Kwado wants to do. And we pray that through these we're not coming on here just to spoil somebody's name because they made a mistake or because they did something wrong. We're coming here to tell you that there are organizations that care for Liberians. And we want to be a part of those philanthropic organizations. Look what Spoon does when he comes here. When you guys come and give things here and give things over there. People look for these kind of reputable organizations. There are not many in the country because we got people. Every time somebody comes to help, they say somebody stole their money for a simple thing like the circumstances with the COVID. The people stole the money for the COVID. You know why? Instead of giving the money to the health department to do it, go to institutions.
So, Mr. Ford, to what extent does your organization empower Liberians? What things have you done in the past to empower Liberians?
That's excellent question.
To be responsible as opposed to relying on the government as you were saying.
Thank you. We've asked, we've collaborated with embassies to see our plights. We've been involved in United Nations issues that comes to working with citizens. We've gone throughout this country to curtail.
And Mr. Ford, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you to be a little bit more specific. When you say we work with United Nations, that's just a little bit too general for me.
We were
specific. projects or initiatives that you have taken or Nima Kwado have taken?
We've taken initiatives to bring solution to a matter of death of Nimbadians in different areas that were not properly investigated. And through the investigation, Nima Kwado was right on the issue that it was not properly investigated. They were investigated, and a good solution came out of it. And the families of those, the relatives, the people that died, saw that Nima Kwado had done something. The issue with the collaboration with embassies and stuff, like I told you, through our visit to the Nigerian embassy, we had the opportunity to set up an agreement between us working with Nigeria in moving some peace initiative in Liberia. We also were invited by the United Nations at one of the conference where we spoke to the issue of citizens' involvement in the decision making of Liberia. Those are things that I can say we've done. And then we've also helped to give scholarship with the minimum money we do to some students. We help some of our members when they were graduating from school. Even though we don't have that money, but we help them to purchase their graduation stuff or make their graduation possible. These are things that we do. And we don't have the kind of money to make it happen because even some of our members cannot even afford to pay the $5 fee for the $500 Liberian fees for our ID cards. We make the ID cards sometimes even cheaper for them. So we are struggling financially to do these things, but we still do it with the minimum of financial help we have. So these are some of the things we've done, Dr. Richardson.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to ask Mr. Fadiga and Mr. Johnson if they have one other question for you, and then I'm going to ask you to do your closing for us, and then we're just going to go through our analysis and closing remarks for the day.
Go ahead after you, Fadiga.
Mr. Port, some of your critics might say that Nima Kwado is a tribalistic organization. Given our political history, we just came from a brutal civil tribal war, I would say. Some people say that some people from other tribes that probably were part of the group that were, part of the fighting in Liberia would be skeptical of your organization. And we are hearing that they may not want to even dialogue with you because this is an advancement of Nimadian. Why not have an organization that will advance all of Liberia? That would be an organization that will have the same beautiful idea for every Liberian. That will be tribal neutral.
But Father, excellent question. Our organization is for the advancement of Liberia. We incorporated ourselves as a registered organization under the bylaws of Liberia. Our membership can be affiliate and membership from other membership from other county. So we are in the interest of Liberia. But let me also say to you,
non-Nimadian or Basa
non-Nimadians can join our. Matter of fact, the guy who gave us $800 for the opening of our first office when we became a board member, he's a Basa preacher who is a member of the Basa Association of the United States of America. He was generous. He said not to tell people his name, but he gave us $800 to help us. And he became a member of an affiliate member of our organization. So we do work with and help non-Liberians. However, let me just let you know that there are a county organization across Liberia. You have Kuka Tono, which is the Pele group, the Pele citizen organization. You have the Lofa County Citizens Association. You have the Grand Bassa, the Crew Association. All of these things happen because you know what? We are an ethnic country. We must never move away from our ethnicity, but we must always be proud that we are Liberians. And Nima Kwado do not regret in saying we will help the interests of the Nima people.
What is that affiliate membership? Do they have the same right as full-fledged Nimadian?
They enjoy the privileges under our constitution. The privileges are, for example, if a Nimba, this is not an affiliate member. If you are married to a Nimba citizen, you have the right to enjoy every right under the Nimba Kwado's constitution. If you're a Basa man who married to, they're Bazolians who are in Nimba County have 7 tribes in their county. So if you're Bazolian and you're married to a Nimba, or you're a Bazolian who live in Nimba, who is from Nimba, the Bazolian who is in Nimba County, in Kokoya, you have Basa, Pele, Kio, Mano, we, all of them in Kokoya, they're citizens of Nimba County. So we're not a tribal or an
What if
ethnic.
you are not married to a Nimadian? Now I'm talking about someone
If
like
you're not married to a Nimadian, you can be a affiliate member of the organization, and you enjoy the privileges of an affiliate member. So we didn't leave anything out here. What we did was that we just formed an organization that continues to produce the thing they call Nimba Kwado. Nimba, we are one. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Johnson.
My final question for you here is, you've spoken a lot on the strength of the organization. I would like to hear a little bit when you talk about meager resources that the organization has to deal with. As we know, many nonprofit organizations out there compete for resources, and it's not easy. But I'd like to know, do we have any reference or anywhere we can go to see Nimba Kwado revenue strength and their expenditures in terms of transparency, in terms of any financial reporting or whatever? And what is the financial capacity of Nimba Kwado in being able to take on some of the challenges that they've dealt with? Is there anywhere we can find reference to some of those?
You can go to our bank, which is the IB Bank, where we have our accounts at. We have the Liberian account and the US account. You can also go to our treasury and you can find documents that our treasurer and our financial secretary make, and we report to our convention and also the membership on the yearly. As a matter of fact, it was one of the things that we asked our now removed president to do that he didn't complete, because we want, as a entity that is non-for-profit and is registered with the government, we need to be able to make our financial standings, and he didn't bring that forth completely. That was one of the, that was not the reason we removed him, but those were some of the defects and the default that he had. So I'm saying, so to agree with you, I mean, to answer your question, yes, we have places you can go. However, talking about finances, most of our financial resource come from the dues and the ID card purchase that our members make, and personal contributions that some of our members make and other people make. That's where it comes from. We are now trying to get a grant writing person to help us write grants so that we can present to entities that will give non-for-profit grants to help us run our organization.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a bit surprised you're sending me to the bank, because usually that's information organizations have very handily. Your last year financials can show me clearly. If you have your last year financials of the year before.
You asked me what document. I mean, what document we have.
Okay, financials. Let me just put it clear. Financials, previous financials that we can look at.
So are you saying what kind of money we have right now?
I was asking if you have an annual budget, like now.
No. Well, we don't have an annual budget. The reason why we do not have an annual budget is that we have not. Our organization, and this is another thing. Our organization, since we came to office as board of directors, we've never elected the board of directors. Our board of directors were appointed or came in because we're in the formative stage. It is this board of directors that wrote the constitution, because there was no formidable constitution to carry out our organization. It was this board of directors that registered the organization. It was this board of directors that put in the leadership that we have right now. So the organization have been existing for a long time, but being governed by their sectors. What we did was that we came and made it a conglomeration of citizens. That's what we did. So we do not at this particular time have a budgetary allotment. At our next convention, we're going to be bringing that forth.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Port. We appreciate you being here today to tell us the goals and objectives of Nimba Kwado. I want to just give you about a minute or so to just please do your closing words, and then we're going to roll over to make a few comments and then take phone calls from Liberia and from the diaspora. So the floor is, the audience is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Richardson. Thank you, Brother Fadiga. Thank you, Brother Johnson. And thank you to my friends here in Liberia, Amos, and what's the young man, Ichokan, and all of those good people who've made it possible for us to be here this evening. We want to say thank you on behalf of Nimba Kwado Liberia Incorporated. And we want also to say thank you to your engineers who have been fighting to make sure that the program goes on. We want to say that we want to let the Liberian people know that we have moved Mr. Isaac down, who was the former president, who is now the former president, and we're put in a new group of leadership. We're asking that you please interact with our new leadership to have a smooth operation. We want to say thank you to Mr. Isaac Da and those people who were removed from office for the job they've done for us in keeping our organization going forward. But decisions have to be made to sustain institution. The decision of the board took here was to make sure that this institution is not moved in the political direction or is not moved in a person's idea. It is moved within the constitution of the organization. So that is why we made the very hard decision to make sure that our organization at this political time in Liberia remain constant. And if anybody who thinks that it can just move our organization and use our organization financially to bring insurrection or to bring divide in our organization, this board will not allow it to happen. The membership of Nimba Kwado will not allow it to happen. We pray that one day Liberia will be governed by our laws. We pray that one day Liberia will get better, and it will get better. We are along with anybody who is elected to the presidency or who will be elected to the presidency in 2023. We will work with you. Nimba Kwado will work with anybody who is willing to work with us under the dictates of our guidelines and our constitution. We pray for the Republic of Liberia. We pray for this president and all of those who are aspiring for office. We pray for our citizens who are never mentioned, who are hungry, who are crying in the street, who are begging, who need jobs. We pray that Liberia will be that place that we will see better days. I'm going to be 60 years old in June. And you know, I said that took my turn 60 and Liberia must rock. I hope Liberia rocks this year in the election, and I pray that Liberians elect a person, a group of people who will move our country forward and not backwards. We're praying for that. Thank you. And we pray also for Spoon that it will keep giving us the messages, and we'll hope that I want to recommend to you, bring on some citizens issue, not always politics. You know, I understand you have to do this, but there's citizens out there who wants to say things about our country and do not have the medium. You all have done extremely well by not charging us money to come in to do stuff, but bring on some citizens who care about Liberia, who wants to project their idea about moving our country forward outside of politics. That is my wish and that is my prayer. May God bless all of us and save our country.
Thank you very much,
Mr. People, Kazuo azo po ira kaze eto yinu ka yin ya onima kwada yin do adie wapo ya go nima ya sie. So we asking you to join us in building Nimba Kwado.
Thank you very much, Mr. Port. It's great having you here today, and you are always welcome to come to Spoon.
One time I will be coming back to ask you to help me raise some money because we need it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. There we are, Fadiga and Johnson. We are here to just kind of reflect on what we heard today or what we heard yesterday. And then we're going to go to the phone line about 6:15 to take calls from Liberia. I just want to give you guys an opportunity to just think about what we just heard and, of course, what you heard during the course of the week and yesterday. So let me start with you, Leo Johnson, and then Fadiga.
I have something in the back. Good day. Can you please put it up for me? I put a few images in the chat room. I would like for Good day to put out. Before I go to that, I wanted to address this issue of the reality in Liberia, Dr. Richardson, before you came on, the conversation that we were having. I want to show what the reality in Liberia is. Dr. Richardson, Kaidi Mala raised millions of dollars in the United States.
To
Liberia, unchecked.
Me too.
Took children from West Point and some of the poorest neighborhoods in our country. It was later uncovered most of these children were raped.
Yes, I remember.
Abused. This is not in debate. Kaidi Mela defied the entire Liberian government, the whole Republic of Liberia, and walked away.
Yes.
Until today's date, nobody has done or said anything. Kaidi Mela lives freely in the United States today.
That's correct.
Nobody granted justice to those children and their family in form of reparations, and what will happen to their entire future going forward.
I think the guy died in...
McIntosh died in prison, but Kaidi Mela is primarily responsible. In fact, Guda, can you please put on a statement? I want to talk about the reality in Liberia today. That when people say, oh, that the reality in Liberia. Let me finish. Fadiga, you can actually come in.
We're going to have a friendly conversation, guys. Just
Guda, can you please put it up? I want to talk about some of the things that are happening that are being wrapped up when people say, this is from the school, Dr. Richardson and the board. It says,
Yeah,
to all the girls who were raped by McIntosh Johnson in 2014 and before, we failed you. We gave Johnson power that he exploited to abuse children. Those power dynamics broke staff ability to report the abuse to our leadership immediately. Our leadership should have recognized the signs earlier and blah, 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 blah. Good, they take it down. And you can please put the other pictures for me up to the other ones that I actually show. This is the reality in Liberia. We are a rapist nation where babies are dying every day because people are raping them. When we talk about the reality in the umbrella, this is the reality, and this is only happening because of children playground. This is what children playground look like in Liberia. This is the reality that we are talking about because of bad governance, because of bad leaders, because of how we structure our political system that people think everybody should conform to Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, anywhere in the world, that statement by the board of More Than Me, taking full responsibility, saying we give someone power over you to abuse your children. The McIntosh guy was Katie Milo's boyfriend.
Correct.
They had a relationship. And what happened today? Nobody says anything. And then when we talk about what needs to be done differently in selecting our leaders, the type of standards we should hold them by, somebody dare tell me and say the reality in Liberia. Trust me, I despise the reality in Liberia. It's disgusting. It's nasty. It's bad. It's killing innocent children. It's killing innocent mothers. It's sending fathers hopeless. So anybody who wants to defend that reality, continue to defend it. I do not conform, nor defend this kind of reality. You can agree or don't agree, that it's fine, but we have a mission to stand up against that reality, even if it means losing an election, so be it.
Yes. Go ahead, Fariga. I'm sure you have a response.
It's easier said than done. Every country in the world, everywhere that I know, have their own circuit. I'll give you two examples. I don't know what is good or not. In the United States, Doc, I've traveled almost every continent, with the exception of probably Antarctica. I was in Australia one time. I fell sick, went to a neighborhood clinic, treated me, came back. I didn't pay $20. In this country, every other developed country have universal health care. Go right here, Canada, that you, Leo, state in. You don't even struggle to pay for health care. In America, you know what the American boss say? They do not want it. We have talked about it. I mean, how bad?
Can we talk about Liberia and leave other countries? I just want to talk about our reality.
I'm just trying to tell you about the circuit and the mentality of the people. So I don't want you to reduce our people to they have their mentality. When you were there, you did not know this. You gained enlightenment when you came out.
That's true.
Yes.
And that's why I cannot defend
you
it.
You cannot rub it down the throat. Leo, I give you a chance. I give you a chance. I give you a chance. I want you to something. I just gave you one example of a Western nation. Another something, gun. In this country, I don't go nowhere because I'm afraid. Every other country, developed country in the world, have said that guns don't kill people. For crazy people with guns kill people. What did the American people say? I don't care what you say, they're not taking away our gun. Can you imagine? When they kill 10 people, you know what the American people say? Our hearts, our thoughts and prayer goes out to that person. Our children go out there unprotected. That story you talk about, I was one of the first people that break that story. That more than me. I talk about it until my mouth tear. We talk about that till we investigated it, all kinds of things. Let me tell you one of the things on the other side of that story that you probably didn't say about. Some of those parents. Look at it, that one of the things this is the best thing that they have seen through all their life. Our politicians have failed them. What Katie provided for those children is probably the best service they have ever had in their life.
So
I'm not saying, hold on.
Go, yeah, I
just want us to understand that every nation, every people in the world have their own circuit. Mm-hmm. In Liberia, we have our own circuit of how we want things to be. It would take, just how we learn some of those things, it would take another reorientation, a new education to unlearn it. But it will not happen by you sitting down on the internet or talking about it. It will happen by you facing the reality. We do therapy. We talk to people. You know that it doesn't just happen. I wish addiction was something that you can just snap people out and say, I don't smoke. I don't understand why people take drugs. But I deal with some clients that I can't understand what's going on in their brain. I can't understand why is it so difficult. Sometimes I want to bang my head on the wall, but I do understand it's a disease. I have to slowly take myself and unwind it until I get them to that point where they can to that original level of food. So I want you to look at it like Liberian people like this. I'm not disagreeing with you. I did not say that we have said no.
You still haven't said nothing about Liberia yet.
No, I'm coming to Liberia. I'm trying to tell you that even in a developed country, they have a mindset that is still backward. What more about Liberia? Let me tell you, when I say we should face the reality in Liberia, Liberia is a country that a lot of our people do not understand a lot of these things. You yourself, when you were there, you did not understand a lot of the things. We only gained enlightenment when we came out. Now, when you go back to those people, you first have to meet them at that place of understanding. It will not happen all that because there is resistance to change. And they have genuine reason to resist you. You know what? Because people that look like you and myself have come from here. They have given them the chance and they have exploited it. Look at the thing with Ellen. Ellen brought all people there. They said they brought all people there for you. Where are they now? All those people have dissipated. They are gone.
30 seconds, Fadika.
So when you talk about so the first thing here is you have to come to that place of realization that this is where they are. Meet them there. And how do you meet them there? You have to be down to that level. So you cannot talk about changing government when you're not elected. How will you change government when you're not elected?
I'm talking about changing government.
When
I'm changing the government. You cannot change
guys.
If you are not.
Let me just throw a thought in here, and hopefully, yes. So when I agree with you, Fadiga, that each country have its own mindset, psyche, mentality. I agree with you, okay? But I think it is also important for us to look at how mindset, psyche evolve. It's not static, okay? When we and even in the United States, we have evolved from slavery, just to use your example, okay? We have evolved from not having no health care for the poor to affordable health care. We have evolved from not wanting to talk about guns, okay, to at least thoughts and prayers. And so sometimes, even every day, we have.
We are still there. We are not there yet.
No, we are evolving. No, we are evolving. Okay.
But let Liberia evolve.
But exactly. So in order for Liberia to evolve, we have to begin to present options to our country. We can't accept just that that's the reality and shut down. To me now, this is my thought. To say this is the reality in Liberia, and so everything, there's no way to bring change. We have to win in order for change to happen. Okay, so evolving reality are impacted. Environmental realities can be impacted by education, exposure, poverty. All of these things can impact reality, and I think in Liberia, a lot of things have happened to us. All right. Most recently, our civil war impacted us severely. And it takes coming on this show sometimes, I think it's part of our responsibility to partnership with Liberians, okay? Because I don't think it can be done with us just coming and talking to Liberians all the time. I think, something like what Leo is doing, being going to Liberia, buildings, showing them this is what a library looks like. What you have done, Fadika, you started this media business, continually exposing Liberians. But to me, if we just sit and say, oh, that is the reality, we have to win before we can govern. In America, that makes perfect sense because you know why? The education level, the exposure of this country, the availability to media and all of these things help people think well. The students talking about their government.
One question.
Okay. However, in Liberia, it is not. We don't have those accessibility. We don't have the exposure to these things that will help us to know, to in a way know better and do better. Okay. So go ahead, Fadiga. What's your question?
Fadiga, before I forget.
You and Leo. I just have one question.
That's a question I'll answer.
Why do you think that our people are getting these, what we consider bad mentality? Where you think is coming from?
First of all, let me debunk you. Our people do not have the bad mentality per se. That's the first mistake. It's easy.
I don't think it's bad. Bad is relative.
No, let me just speak for myself. Let me speak for
But
myself.
where do you think all these beliefs come from?
I think the first thing is, it's so easy to shift blame on the general population. Let me tell you where this is coming from. This is coming from us saying during the election that, oh, you know, the reality is like people want to vote for certain things, so let's propagate it so they can vote for it. Then we get the wrong person in who feels no responsibility at all. Because they tell you that, you know what, I know how to manipulate our people. The bad mentality comes from us sitting down in the diaspora. You say we've become enlightened. Those of us who've come here, calling ourselves UP, United States, CDC, Canada, and why these people are, according to us, are bad at home. We endorse them here and promote them here. Let me tell you where it is coming from, Fadiga. It is coming from this place that, yes, that these things exist. But those of us, what hurts the most is those of us who've come here. All that thing you're talking right now, with all the thing you said, is somebody that knock on your door, funny way right now, you call 911 in less than 5 minutes, the police will be at your door. If God forbid somebody passed out, and you know, right now you call the ambulance, in 3 to 5 minutes, it will be, despite all those issues, we enjoy all of this. It hurts me for us to sit on these shows and say, you know, that the reality in Liberia, that the play our people might say,
I'm not answering my question. Where are the people getting this belief from? Who are they getting it from? It's not from us, because we have no power.
It's coming from us. We are the ones promoting it. That's what we're doing. The diaspora, we are promoting. Let me give you an example. When we leave from here, we go to Liberia, we're sleeping with 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old girls. We got pictures. We can show them when we leave from here. Hold on. When we leave from here, we go to Liberia. We marry 2 women in Liberia. We got wives and children sitting out here. Hold on, let me break it down for you to the societal level. When we leave from here, go to Liberia. The only money let me finish, Fadiga. When we leave from here, go to Liberia. The only money we're willing to give people that will tell our friend and Karen Calabash made them charge. And the poor didn't even get food to their houses to eat. When we leave from here, go to Liberia, drink our mineral waters in a bottle and drop the street in a bottle and drop the deck down and say the city is dirty. When we leave from here, go to Liberia, take our trash and pee in the streets because it's allowable. When we leave from here, go to Liberia, go out in the night, have one bottle of Hennessy in one hand, driving with one hand to go home. When we know we can do it here in the United States. Let me say this to you, Fadiga. When I went to Liberia, the first time I went to Liberia and told people it's possible for local organizations in Liberia to access hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding from the diaspora, people told me that not true, it was wrong. Today, I can proudly tell you, we've gotten 2 local organizations in Liberia to access over 100,000 United States dollars directly. When I went to Liberia and told people, say, my poor, I want Bay Library, I want to be called Library Leo. Everybody told me, say, good luck partnering with the government to do anything they play that makes sense. Everybody told me it will not work. People told me, say, Leo, the one thing, and I tell you now, we're here getting great, you can finish building it. But guess what? Today, it has happened, and I can tell you now, one person has asked me for a dime. In any government, I've gone through 2 presidents, 3 city mayors. In fact, these government people have been helping me spend some of their own money to help us facilitate the process. So I would say to you today that we not acting better, we conforming to the reality is what is perpetuating this issue until we can start to act differently. We are only helping make the situation worse.
And funny, I can say, to answer your question, I can say that, you know, when you've been through a lot of problems in your life, when you've been through hunger, poverty, not having enough food to eat, not having a job, when somebody give you crumbs, and you know, a friend of mine explained this to me. She said, you know, just imagine being hungry and somebody can't give you a piece of bread. You would think that piece of bread is something big, okay? So you would just sit down and eat it and be complacent and think that's all, that's your limit. Not knowing that there's a lot more breads out there that you can eat, okay? But that's what's happening in Liberia. We want to come and sell a picture to Liberians like this is your limit. You can only get this kind of government, and we have to conform to this kind of government because that's it. There's more, there's bigger things, there's bigger opportunities, bigger resources out there for Liberians. It takes partnering with Liberians for us to get the type of Liberia that we want. So it's a combination of things. To me, it's not just one answer to say, where did we get this mindset from? It's a combination.
I don't think that's the answer I wanted. I don't think you guys answered the question, and Leo certainly is completely way off a mark with his blanket generalization. Let me tell you something about one thing I noticed about people, and just based on me going back to that mindset of when I was in Liberia. Look, you cannot demand better if you have never seen better before.
But who was better?
Who that will show better?
And I was talking in
This is who's supposed to show
This
better.
is where better comes into consideration.
Who's supposed to show better?
Let me tell you something. Better that we think is better is relative.
Yeah, but who's supposed to show that relative better?
No, when you're hungry, food is better.
Let me answer.
Relative. When you get job to eat,
let me answer.
getting money in job. That's not relative. Would that mean that you get some kind of fulfillment? That human condition.
Yeah, but let me answer Leo. Not everybody that goes to Liberia go to sleep with honor age children. I know
true.
Myself.
I fully agree with you, Fadiga.
Let me tell you something. You cannot blame the few people that go down for a society.
No, Fadiga, you are right. Not everybody that goes to Liberia does that. So that generalization was wrong. Not everybody that goes to Liberia does that.
Let me just say this. Another thing is it's not a diaspora problem. This is a societal problem. The breakdown in family structure that is there. And you know where that I expected Leo to say the reason these people are getting this, where they are getting this belief from, is from the leaders. The leadership in Liberia. We do not have leadership in Liberia. We only have financial power that will send money, and we think that is leadership because we can send money. So most people in the diaspora think that they are better off than the people back home because they can give.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but we are the same people. Some of us here are saying, you're saying we got leadership problem, but then we are saying, oh, these people need to win to come on. Because
that's the reality. Because that's the reality.
I will tell you who are responsible, then I will tell you how we can fix it. Just give me a few minutes, I will say this before I lost my train of thought. The problem here is, and Leo blaming, or it's a societal problem. And who are those in leadership? What does leadership look like? Leadership look like that senator that will move from the slum, pay away, bribe the people, get them rest, get them something, get elected, build this tower or monument. So when that child grows up, he wants to aspire to be something. He wants to be a government official because he haven't seen anybody outside of government that is wealthy or well-to-do in the private sector. Most of the people they see are people in government. So everybody, I want to go there. These are the kind of leadership that we see. These are the few examples that are around for us to emulate. Let me tell you something. When you leave from here with your little few dollars and your little influence that we think we have here. Look, if we had influence, we'll not even be struggling with Mr. Cummings. I just want you to know where power lies. Power lies in the hands of those guys that would think that they do not know much.
So you don't have influence?
And let me tell you how we can undo it.
But you don't have influence?
I have some influence, but I don't think that
today you're telling us you have no influence.
But the thing about it is, it's not about influence for me. For me, it's about proposing what would be right, okay, even though what would stop the hunger in Liberia, proposing what would create medication in the hospital. They
don't know it. It doesn't make sense to them. They are listening to the people on the
ground. Let me ask you, Dr. Richardson, let me ask Fadiga a question, and maybe you can answer to Fadiga. The women and Lehman Bowie who went on the football field and stood there when people used to laugh at them. I remember I was in Liberia, they were looking like stupid people when they actually started. Did they have to travel abroad? Did they have to go to Martin Luther King March? Did they have to go to anywhere else in the world to see anything?
People from here.
Actually, that's not. Yeah, you can say whatever you want, but we know that they went nowhere. These were native women. Some of them could not even speak English. Hold on, let me just finish. Some of them were from the St. Peter Lujunja. I know them very well. They could not even speak a word of English to begin with. When they stood on their feet, people used to mock them until their movement became so powerful that it led to peace coming to Liberia. Akami, there are young women and men in Liberia today. In fact, when it comes to the people who are getting help for rape and victims, Dr. Richardson, is innocent young women men in Liberia who are leading the charge using their own meager resources across the country. When it comes to supporting our brothers and sisters who people insult today and call them Zogo, you know that who leading the charge? It is young men and women on the ground in Liberia who've never traveled anywhere, who never went to school anywhere. When the day their man born in, they've been in Liberia. So for you to tell me the reality in Liberia that this kind of corrupt mentality, that is false. We have elevated the corrupt mentality in Liberia above people who are in fact, when you honest and doing things transparently, they say they want crazy. Oh, you not even know Liberia. How far you will go?
Well, let me tell you another solution. Let me tell you another way. Right, we can sit on social media with our little or no
online.
Let me just finish this one point. We can sit here with our little or no influence in Liberia and threaten the people, or we can go there and help them to do something about it. And how can you do something about it if more of us go and assume leadership on the ground? How do you do it? You leave from here, you go down, you look at the situation, identify with the people, let them gain in terrible, we call it rapport building. You have to build that rapport. As soon as you leave from the country 1 year later, you are no longer considered a Liberian. You are no considered part and parcel of that society. So you have to go there, because the thing is, the people don't trust us.
And that's what the partnership I talk about, Fadiga, the partnership between us over here and the Liberians in Liberia.
They are talking at them. It doesn't work.
However, though, I don't think it. I think we have to continue. We who have been exposed, we who have been, have gotten some sort of education, we need to be able to tell the Liberian people what looks good, what can help stop the hunger in our country, what can help put food on somebody's table, what can help.
Use the face of leadership. How do you do it? Go down. If you have to conform to some of the things to get to that leadership, because if more all get there, you don't have to do all the bad things. It doesn't mean
okay.
There are certain traditions that you may think that are bad. It's not bad. Even in America.
No, nobody talking about our tradition.
Yeah, we're not talking tradition. Corruption.
What make corruption? They giving the people rest to vote for them in a corruption?
Is that tradition?
It is corruption.
What tradition?
It's not tradition.
Corruption.
But that's what the people want.
So Fadiga, let me ask you.
What the people want.
So Fadiga,
So
Fadiga, let me ask you, right? Some of us, we are in Liberia 4-5 times a year. We are in the trenches in our own little way. We ain't got problem with the people. We ain't got problem with the people there at all. In fact, people that support the efforts that we are doing in a big way. Last year alone, Liberians living in Liberia raised 9,000 United States.
Hold on, Doc is calling Aaron. Oh yeah.
So
you're sleeping?
So Megan to all that already.
I've been asking Adokai.
No, I was trying to edit. You know, I have my support on this side, so I was trying to remove the name to edit.
Dr. Richard C. Megan to all. So Fadiga, I was just saying, those of us who in Liberia 4-5 times.
I was on a very strategic call.
With our people there. People support us. Last year alone, Liberians in Liberia with no foreigner raised 59,000 United States dollars in one night to support the Learning Center project.
Wow,
that's at Royal Hotel in one night.
That is impressive.
Yes,
you just talking about our problem.
Fadiga, let me finish. So when you say we have to go and conform, I've been going to Liberia, Fadiga, for 11 years in a row, 4-5 times every single year. Sometimes I spend 3 months at a time when I'm actually
there. That's some things you will conform with.
I mean, there's naming one. I haven't had to conform to any of the corrupt practices. I haven't had to conform to any of the everything relative. So nothing gets definition anymore. So okay. I agree.
So Aaron, please let's listen to the Liberian people.
Let the Liberian people call.
Yes, let them call and they can tell us what they heard about Nima Kwado. That's number one. And then number two, we having a really good conversation with them. I'm hearing, some people are saying they like the condition that they are in, that, they don't want change. And while other people are saying that, and I'm saying actually that it's a partnership with the Liberian people. For those of us who have been and seen better, I think we can go back home and partnership with them, or even from far, keep in connection, keeping in relationship with them, where we can continue to say, this is what better looks like, 3 meals a day. This is what education looks like. This is what a hospital looks like, so those kind of things that we can have a conversation about. So let's hear from the Liberian people, and then we'll go to the diaspora people. Aaron, so open the phone line for me, please.
Okay, 0555-101075 and 0777-101075. Let's take this person here. Good evening, welcome.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Let's hear you.
I say hi to the panelists, especially Dr. Richard. I can really admire on the show. Yeah, my talk on the Nima Kwado issue, Dr. Richard, and to all the panelists. Most of the institutions that we get in our country, they have to understand, and they take to get compromise Let me tell you, Nimba Kwado and Nimba, in their face here, the former Cabinet General was removed for his position. They not say friend. They not say friend. But when something happens, when in their interest at the time, they can stand up. When not in the interest of the country too, they can talk. And again, I'm a supporter of the Sokumi agency. Every day we pass to Mr. Kumi. But we find it difficult. Somebody asked me today, the person told me, say, when was Mr. Kumi Sunday 11? He now comes soon to show himself to that Grandpo. Sunday 17, he knows very well CDC will now govern the country good. Why he never support somebody else in the race? And now the person told me, they said, Mr. Kumi and ANC people that pass, your target will be CDC. It will not be, you said, when you attack, they said, people will think that you get different motive. You're working for former President, Madam Ellen Johnson, because she no more in charge. Ben Kumi in the race, so we can say the people say the Kumi and Musa Bese working for the former president. And I beg people on the show. Let's take one day, let us discuss Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Everything will not be just about there for 12 years. As vice president, from Madam Johnson Sirleaf, because today everything that we can measure Joa was still on me. Thank you for your show.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us. Good evening. Let's hear you.
Thank you. This is Evangelist Otis called. Do join you from GSA Road this evening.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I followed the conversation, beginning with the Nimba Kwado, where I got my wife from. I appreciate, the institution, and I think that reveals a sense of, ethnicity, and then put them in the bound where, they can believe in each other and know exactly what to do once it comes to country or county. But I think because what happened some time ago, there was a little conflict with Nimba Kwado. We heard that, the Nimba Kwado and those persons here at the Jamaica Resort. And then afterward, we follow another, group again come in and say, no, we did not endorse President Weah. So I think they should just be very strict to the point so that they can avoid the issue of conflict, because the institution, I believe, like I listened to, the panelist, he was very explicit, but I think they should be very, careful as to how the institution is being run. And then let me say to Fariga, you talk about social problem. I do agree with you, brother. We have some, issue that has to do with social change. But once you travel, you go away. It means that you develop a new mindset, and that mindset is what you want to bring back to your country to infuse, so that people will begin to see, the new thing that you're bringing. But if you keep dwelling on, they say, oh, this thing happened in other country, oh, this happened in other country, then you revert into the same old mindset that say, my man, nobody can change that thing that elevate me. So I don't want you to even utter that statement from your mouth, no matter how hard it is. Let's keep pressing on that change is possible. But don't give people the kind of appetite that, oh, the thing happening in other countries, so it can happen anywhere. No, that we have not gone anywhere since we got independent. Since we got our independence, we're struggling with the issue of our national identity. So it's not something to be polished and say because it happened in other countries. Other countries, the country you compare Liberia and America, you can compare America with Liberia. America have gone far. So those of you who had the opportunity to travel to go away, we expect you that when you come back, you should press on whatever thing that you think it is not good. You should press on it when you come back, even when you sit on your platform. So for that particular aspect, really, I don't agree with you. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome. Hello, you're live.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Thanks for joining us. Let's hear you.
I have one or two questions to ask the brother in the studio.
Which are the brothers?
The Makwalo boss.
Oh, okay. He has already left. So maybe
when
you
last
can
you were in Liberia, number one.
When last you was in Liberia?
Yeah, number one.
But he's in Liberia. The man who spoke the Nimba Kwado man is in Liberia.
Okay, that's why I have that question. Wow, what thing is.
I'm not getting clear.
Hello. I didn't get for your first question. You asking when he came to Liberia, right?
I said when last were you in Liberia? You in Liberia now?
Who specifically a question going to?
So Nima Kwado, I'm not chairman from America about talking.
No, but he spoke from Liberia. He was in the studio here. He spoke. He left already.
Okay. Sorry, but whether you can talk on America, sorry.
Okay.
So I want to what is the difference between?
Hello. The line is terrible. Hope
Yeah, let's take another call. Maybe he will call back when his line gets better.
Okay. Welcome.
Yeah. Good evening. How are you?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Jerome Kutu. I call from GSA. So for the first time, let me speak with Madam Richardson on the radio. You guys are the one who hurting the community in this country. Every time you want to attack Mr. Bwaka, you hurt Mr. Kumi. Because the very people who call on the radio every day, right? We were the same verified people who voted for Mr. Kumi in 2017. And for your behavior in the U.S., some of you in the U.S. are now registered for the election. As far as sit on the radio and there's somebody who wants to redeem the Labrador people, whereas I sit in the U.S., I've not even made your way to Labrador to register, and you want to draft people away from Mr. Cummings. You guys are causing trouble for Mr. Cummings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for having a say on the program tonight. Let's take this person. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening. I'm George Logo, the Foreign Relations Officer of Nima Kwado, Liberia.
Okay, go ahead, George.
Okay, I called to make some clarity to the issue raised by Mr. Tokpapot in studio. You know, the fact cannot hide from someone's mouth when he's speaking. All of the decisions that Mr. Tokpapot mentioned in studio today are all unilateral decisions that were taken by just 3 men, according to the draft constitution of Nima Kwado, which has not been approved. Any decision that should be taken by the board should be about 2/3 members of the board. The board should constitute 9 members representing the 9 electoral districts of Nima County. That's one. Up to the time Mr. Tokpapot was appointed on the board about 3 years ago, he has failed to fully constitute the board. That's one. And secondly, the issue of political endorsement that Mr. Tokpapot wants to use as a basis for his split that he's put in the organization. Few months back, if you can remember, member of the press, Nima Kwado went to the house of Senator Jeremiah Kmankun, and being that arrangement was stage managed by Tokpapot, Senator Prince Johnson, as well as member of the board, it didn't amount to political endorsement. But those political statements were made.
But excuse me, did they endorse Mr. Jeremiah Kun at that event? Did they read a statement of endorsement?
The statement endorsement was not made, but the statement made that were political. Senator Johnson spoke at that occasion. If you go back to history, you get that. That's not the issue.
In the name of Nima Kwado.
In the name of Nima Kwado, Tokpapot was there. He received the keys of the 15 motorcycle that Senator Jeremiah Kun gave to Nima Kwado as empowerment. That was a politically motivated, a stage. Okay? And that did not amount to endorsement. He didn't talk because he was there and Senator Johnson was there. Right after that, Senator Johnson started this uprising with the president. And Nima has a history of, having problems, or leaders of Nima having problems with past leaders. So Nima Kwado being a neutralizer and a citizen-based organization for Nima, we thought it necessary that we will not go the way of Senator Johnson. And since President we have started doing, some development in the country, we have to endorse. Senator Report, who said Nima Kwado is not a political organization, he is currently the national vice chair for the MDR. So all of the fights he's doing now, he wants the organization to go on the MDR. Those are things that he's trying to do, but he cannot come up openly to say. And secondly, the issue that has to do with transparency in the organization, he was not clear with it. Mr. Port was in the United States a few months ago. He lobbied in the name of Nimba Kwado and brought continuum of boost in the name of the organization. But when he got in country, he disclosed to the president that the content of the continuum are his possible.
Can we get his number so he can come
Yes.
on?
Please, yes, because he's giving us a whole show, a whole brand new show.
Yeah, so
just get his number. After the show, you can have a conversation with him. Then you can come and
in studio tomorrow. I will pay for the time that he and my second will display documentary of all the allegations he made tonight.
Right.
Let's get it. So what I want to say is the National Executive Committee of Nimba Kwado, under the leadership of Mr. Aziz.
Hello.
I'm not seeing your number because the calls are coming in. So you can get my number. Just read my number.
Can he announce the number?
Yeah, give me a number. Yes.
0888 83 21 86.
Okay, to conclude.
You get me on WhatsApp. No, you will talk more.
It's okay. When you
conclude. 2 hours and already in the conclude. Yeah, you will begin.
And you want to debate region management, you will come.
Welcome.
Okay. The next call, please. Anyone?
This radio to Gali ever.
Hello.
We even to radio to Gali.
I call it radio to Gali.
Need that baby. I'm ready. Error.
Are you getting inside? Making fun? No. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead.
The Spunta.
Yes, this is Spunta. Go ahead.
I want to say hi to the panelists. This is C1S calling from Nimba County, San Nicolas City.
Go ahead.
I just want to take side with my brother Faringa. Until you can take power in Liberia, you will not be able to do what you want to do. So, for you to take power, you got to do it the way, and then when you take power, you can change. I was privileged to listen to one of Professor Oluma's speeches. He said that in Africa, you that have a heart to transform a country, they don't give it, the electors don't give it to you. And he made an example on Uganda. Museveni. He fought the first time, he never got it. The second time, he never got it. And he came back as a hero. And he got the power. So, until you can get the power in Liberia, until you can be president, you will not transform. So let Mr. Cummings come down, and then he can fight and get the power. Then he can bring all his strategies on board. Until he be president, he will not be able to change anything.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You didn't learn. I actually wanted to. Hello, welcome. Sorry. Hello. Quiet.
Yeah.
Hello. You're not coming too clear. Yeah, you're not coming too clear. Yeah, I don't know what's the issue. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, go ahead.
This is Kabine S. Vana, and I do join the conversation this night from Clarendon. A member of CYM and my goal is to make Mr. Weah a one-term broker dancer. Having said that, some of all we learn when we let to be straight to the point. Looking at how Liberia is now under this Weah regime, that every sector have been under the regime only because this does not have any ability. It has no understanding of governance, right? Looking at how Liberia is looking now, then a country that just fighting war. Anybody who just thinking in the mind that Mr. would be re-elected, or anybody who even has a mindset to re-elect this man, you are actually a crazy person.
No.
Okay.
You can decide.
I want to show. Let me finish looking the cross. I'll call you.
Let's transition to the
James, you are coming out loud. We're hearing you, James.
James. Are you ready for us to take calls, James?
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron. thank you very much. I appreciate all you do with him.
Hello.
We're going to transition to Good Day.
Yes,
Good
hello.
Day.
Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, I'm Aaron Colley, and I'm calling from the US. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Okay, Chief, go ahead.
I kept my thought for today because I know I couldn't get to the line last night.
But we're talking about just tonight.
I strongly support Mr. Gomez. But I want to say that the racism, you are fighting a good fight for Mr. Gomez. But I want to tell you this. You going against the old man Joe Waga is not right. The way in which you present the issue about the old man is not good because we know that Mr. Comey and Mr. Braga is fighting for one goal, to change Liberia. So if you coming for one person, how will other partisans look at Mr. Comey?
Okay.
Partisans will be fighting against each other and forget about the me president which is George Weah. So I'm just urging that the register to please present her case the right way because we are in a democratic time. Everybody should present what they want to present. You present a candidate,
right.
Honorable Falcon was saying, you present a candidate, I present my candidate to the people and see what will happen.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Let me get another call. Okay, let me get this. Good evening.
Good evening.
What is your name and where you calling from?
And I'm calling from South Jersey.
Okay. Make a point.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, make a point.
I just want to make a few points. Spoon Talk is so important to us to the extent that we take on our busy schedule just to listen to this program, to make sure that we are informed, to know about what's happening in our country and around us. But I want to make a comment on my brother, one of the panelists, Leo. I want for Brother Leo to understand that this show is monitored by everyone. There are some people who don't go to school, some uneducated people in Liberia that listen to this show and educate them. They tell them about the country, the activity that going on. So sometimes to prolong and eat the time of the show with the too much argument, I don't think it's really necessary on this platform.
Okay.
Because this platform is helping Liberians to the extent that we cannot miss the time when this show is on.
All right, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, let me get this caller. Okay, plus 231 555 11 11 99 is the number you can call to be a part.
3 more calls.
Hello?
Then we're going to close them.
What is your name and where you calling from?
This is James calling from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. When you started the show first, I listened to the ladies or the king, and you guys were making the fact that the community people that are not presenting their cases to the people. Even going to Leeward County, myself, I'm from Jointown. When you go down there, you can't find one community people that ain't there. And the problem about popularity in Liberia County is not popular. So how will you make himself popular? By going to the people in the Liberia County and building offices. But nothing they go there and say, you can't find one motorbike that says, and it's not coming. You know that Joe Weah is popular. Joe Weah don't need the press. Even Braga, and sometimes he don't need the press people. That coming need the press people. So coming to build some radio station for himself to be promoting in the Leeward County. Coming to carry some motorbike to promoting, some cars, some people running there with ANC on it. He can say, no, none of them there. Everybody said that already. They're making that noise. None of them doing nothing. They only after the money. They coming today, coming ask them, don't bring your country to what the party. None of them will bring $5. All the one coming will take everything from a party. None of them making a second part. He said 5% in the Southeast. Why are people coming on people? Are they there? No. Maybe are they there? No, they don't know where. Everybody said that right over there where later. They doing nothing. But coming can make it, the large element. I cannot make it anywhere. Yeah, more than any man.
Thank you. What call more than Nima people?
I tell the man speaking, he said Leo more than Nima. He said Leo tell the woman.
Oh, okay, more than Nima. Oh, more than Nima, yeah. Tell the woman.
Hello?
Yeah, more than Nima, tell the woman. Hello? What is Please lower your monitor. Please lower your monitor.
One more call, okay? After
go.
this, we can I'll close it. More than any man. More than any man.
You're more than any man. More than any man. Tell it one more.
Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
You are live.
Okay, thank you, James. My name is Marvin, and I call from PA. I kind of wanted to, chime in on the Fadigas and Leo's kind of like, I don't want to call it argument, but, just, here's the thing. I can understand the both argument that Leo and Fadiga is making. If I can understand Fadiga very well, he's saying, in order for you to change, you got to meet the people where they are. Sometimes we in the diaspora, we kind of talk down at these people and think we are educating them. Sometimes we think we know it all. So in order for you to really get these people to even listen to you, you got to meet them to where they are. And Leo point about, trying to help the people to change the system and not to do business as usual, it's also genuine. But how do you merge these two for it to be done effectively is what we need to kind of consider. So, both of you guys are making points, but we have to be careful about how we do it so that it gets done, so that the people themselves can own it. Instead of just being on the radio or, internet and just kind of talking the way we think it's right to do it. I just wanted to make that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I gotta go to closing.
That's all?
Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine.
Okay. I have one caller.
Okay, let's do the last call and then we'll go to closing.
Yeah.
What is your name and where you joining us from?
My name is James Woolsey, calling from Minnesota. How are you, Spoon, guys?
We great. Go ahead.
Yeah, James. I want to thank you guys, for this platform, especially that I read this. Look beautiful. How to call yourself? My man Fadiga, Leo, and the rest. I'm moved by something that came out, I think, some months ago regarding the Nima County, one of Nima County's Senator Jeremiah Kum. If I can set myself right, I think you guys on the platform, this platform is not belongs to one party, it's not belongs to a party, it belongs to the Liberian people, as you guys always said. I have one question. I have two, but Falcon is not here, so I was not asking other question. My first question is this. When you guys interview Mr. Hadikor himself, Vedera, and he make an allegation against Vadi Tere and Jefferson Koji regarding the killing of the late Mususka daughter. You guys ran with that topic for almost a month on the platform. But Henry Costa, one of our top podcast hosts, make an allegation against Jeremiah Koo, who expected to be one of the candidates that's in the race for the...
What's your point? What's your point? We don't have time.
My point is, you guys did not discuss this Jeremiah Koo alleged allegation about he selling human body parts.
Then you were not listening.
You guys said,
I beg you.
Go ahead.
You guys have not discussed this. You guys have never discussed Jeremiah Koo the allegation against him about human part being sold, doing the human part business. You guys just silent on it. And this Jeremiah Koo candidate is, he's a possible candidate for the VP position for the Unity Party. And you guys are just keeping quiet on it. And you guys have never called Henry Costa to ask.
Hello? I think he dropped the line.
All right. Okay. I'm going to start. We're going to do our closing comments right now. We'll start with Leo and then we'll go to Fadiga, and then I'll be the last person to close.
Yeah, my man Aaron said, Yapa Moy. The man, oh, I'm telling you, get ready. Yapa Moy me, you were talking. He said, Leo, you were talking. Don't mind it.
Ready, everything.
I know, right? But anyway.
No money, man.
More than any man. New line. But thank you, everybody. It's been a good show. Good to Fadiga as well. And somebody made a very salient point that I couldn't agree with more. One of the callers. That yes, meet people where they are to take them where you ought to go. But don't conform. And that's exactly what we've been saying. Like all of us go, if we didn't want to meet people where they are, we'll not go to Liberia, Dr. Richardson. We'll sit down here and say we'll wait until the country has systems and have processes before we go there. We said no, we will go there the way it is. We'll meet everybody. All of us will go the way it is. Then we'll all work together. And the way we can meet people where they are and move them to where we hope they can go. It's not at talking at them by sitting on the internet. It's by going there, being on the ground, listening, hearing, and then proffering, and not even by telling them, say, you crazy or you wrong, but proffering different solutions. Not by saying, oh, you know what, the reality here, we'll do the reality for now, then in the future we'll change. Dr. Richardson, I was 9 years old when I heard people talking about LU need improvement. We need to make LU better. UL, University of Liberia. I was 9 years old. Our old men getting gray hair now. We still talking about how LU needs to be improved. In fact, it went backwards instead of going forward. If you look at Liberia today, Dr. Richardson, in many sectors, we are moving backwards and not forward. So when people say, oh, the change will come later, the change does not come by magic. It comes by the little things that we all do. So I agree with that caller. None of us should denigrate our Liberian people. None of us should talk at them. We should meet them where they are. We should listen to them and then tell them, say, okay, we hear you. But here is a different approach. And here's the way I want to do it. Can you guys endorse me to actually do it this way? And let's see what the outcome will be. Not to say, my man, the way the thing are looking, the way the Liberian people are, we will not meet them here. It will not be able to actually move forward. So what I have to say to everybody today is to say, yes, let's agree. And the good thing about change, Dr. Richardson, it does not start from power. The whole thing people say you get to govern to change, that's the one I vehemently disagree with. You do not need political power to change the country. That is the biggest falsehood we've ever been told, in my opinion. Majority of the people who made genuine change in history have not been people with political power. In fact, they were people that were rejected and ostracized. You can name them from Mother Teresa to Nelson Mandela, to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. All of these people Mahatma Gandhi, these were people that were rejected. They had in fact, some of them never held political power till the day they die. But they had the greatest impact in terms of making change and changing systems for good. So to all my Liberian people, we agree that nobody should talk them. Let me let you know, just because I'm all travel here, does not give anybody different carte blanche all. We are all Liberians. It's okay for us to disagree. It's okay for me to say your way of doing it, I don't agree. I want to do it differently. And if you think the way I'm doing it will not work, and I hear people say, oh, that thing you can talk that theory. Dr. Richardson, when like 10 years ago, when my craziness got in my head, our theory, right? When we went to that browser, one bill I buried our theory. 10 years ago, when we said we wanted to help market women in real market, so each of them can get $500 US, guess what? Our theory. But that theory has raised close to $2 million now. So the theory has come to you. It is the theory that you bring to practicality. The practicality don't come. God can you open heaven and drop it. No, so the whole thing called theory means you think about it first. When you think about it, then you figure out how can I take that thing from my head and make it happen. So nobody might be vexed because some are thinking differently. I cannot come to Canada, live in Canada, go Liberia, and pretend like all the things that I learned in Canada, and I mean nothing. And it's okay for you to disagree with it. But I will have to give account to him or her who much is given, much is required. By the grace of God, I've been given much. So when I go to Liberia, I humbly accept that much is required of me. If you disagree with it, you have the right to disagree with it. The results will justify the actions being put into close. The best response to criticism is performance. 2 years down the road, we'll be back here. And we will see whose argument has come to fruition and made some results.
Thank you. Thank you, Leo Johnson. I really like to whom much is given, much is required. That's one of the things that I live by. Fadiga, please go and give your closing.
Again, I would say it's easier said than done. We all want change in Liberia, but change, like everything else, is relative. You only know what you know. I have been in Liberia. We all have lived Liberia. I've gone to Liberia several times, made several trips to Liberia, interacted with the people. I don't think anybody is saying that we cannot advocate for change. But when you are advocating for change for people that do not even understand that it is a problem yet, this is where you have to meet people where they are. You have to assume leadership. I know my good friend mentioned the university. He gave one example of the university. So I want to use that example. Look, there are people responsible for making these things happen. If it is not happening, you need to get on the board, get on the ground, get elected, get somewhere to get. But how do you get there? The people have to entrust you to give you power. Once they can trust you and give you that power, then you can change. So I think we are all saying the things just from different perspectives. I'm not saying that you are wrong or to not come. I don't think it's conforming. You see, what you believe is true in some other culture could be considered bad. But if you start to say, oh, that culture is bad, the first year is they're going to reject you because it is all they know. And I gave one of the best examples that I've given is female genital mutilation. It is becoming glaring that female genital mutilation is bad for female. But I know of a female. I know I've sat in group back in the days when I used to work on the FGM squad. I have sat with female that look at other female that did not undergo that process and call them dirty. Ew! You go to the something, and in their mind, those women that are not going through the process were dirty and they were not worthy of being around them. Do you know why they felt that way? Because somewhere in their culture made them to believe that it was part of a ritual that you have to go through. So what do? We have to train people to first make them understand. Even with our best effort, people were rejecting it. When we went to find out why they were rejecting it, it became evidence that some of the women were using that as a means of, as a source of income. So how can you divert their attention from leaving this FGM process to doing something else? We started to indulge them into farming, indulge them into other activity that will generate revenue. So it's easier. That's why people talk about theory. It's easier to come up with an idea. We all know what is expected here. I go to Liberia. Even in America, I never pee on the street. Even in Liberia, I don't pee on the street. I don't chuck trash on the street in Liberia when I go to Liberia. When I have trash, so that I will put it in my car until I go and say, well, I see a pie, then I put it there. But there are certain things that are ingrained. But there are certain things that the people are accustomed to. Like the gun laws in America. I wish that they could take all the guns away, but American people want it. So what I'm saying is, if we want to change that system, we first need to stop talking at the people, go down, meet them at that level, and then we can solve it. I'll leave it at that. Let me go to do the political side.
Oh,
okay, I want to do my political closing.
Okay, do your political closing.
Yeah, let me do my political closing. One of the things that I wanted to ask Mr. Port from the Nima Quadro, and one of the things that puzzled me about them, this is an apolitical organization, but somehow they are taking these political donations from people. Isn't that like you got 10 motorbikes from one person in Liberia? You will take 10 motorbikes for somebody free. I mean, it's that like don't ask, don't tell. They're not going to say, but we all know. I mean, Mr. Port will kind of messing with our head here, but the reality doesn't jab with what he's saying. So if the president gave you one car, how can you maintain your independence when you keep taking these political donations from key political actors? And the reason why I ask you some specific questions, because a few months from now, we will be holding Nima Quadro to that standard that he has set today. And I'm glad just a few minutes later, another person came and already counted him. We ain't going nowhere. Somebody already counted him. So I really hope, I pray that a few months from now, we won't see anything change, because it is becoming glaring that Jeremiah Coon going to be the guy to stay close to something. Like I said, I got nothing against Nima County. My maternal grandmother is from Nima County. By virtue of that, Jeremiah Coon is my cousin. So I can't stay against my cousin. If that's what the Liberian people want, so be it. If the Liberian people want Mr. Cummings, so be it. But at this point, my advocacy moving forward will be drawn to bringing the opposition together.
Thank you.
So that we can meet our goal.
Thank you, Fadiga. And I'll do my closing now. I just want to begin by saying thank you, callers. We appreciate you calling into the show. Thank you, commentators. Everything that you say in the comment section, that is an indication that you are interested in the show and what is happening in Liberia. I want to thank you, Liberians, for listening to the show. This is your radio station, and we do our best to bring you information that is in the news. And thank you, panelists. It's always a pleasure just kind of having this exchange of idea. I really enjoy it. I'm happy that we can do this, guys. But I want to just speak to some people who believe that my support for Mr. Cummings is about winning. Okay. I don't govern my life about winning. I govern my life about what I can do to improve human conditions in the world. There are many times that I failed and learned. So failure is not necessarily a bad thing for me. So for those of you who preach that, oh, I support Mr. Cummings and Mr. Cummings not going to win, yes, I would love for him to win because I believe he has all of the mechanism, all of the vision that can make Liberia a better place. But if he doesn't, that is not going to be the end of the world. That doesn't mean that I'm going to change my views that he is the best person to bring change to Liberia. No, it doesn't. And this is not, I hear people say, oh, you're attacking Joseph Boakai. No, I'm telling you the fact. The fact is, Mr. Boakai, and I question, this is what critical thinking come into place. Mr. Boakai ruled Liberia for 12 years, for the 2 years. I don't know, take your pick. And for me, when you govern or you serve as vice president, I expect to hear about your impact. I expect you to be outcome driven. I expect not to just hear that you had this experience for 42 years or for 12 years. I expect you to show me how did you lead? What was your leadership pattern? What was your leadership style? What did you leave in our country that was sustainable, especially when you're in charge of the Group of 77 or the lottery program? I don't get that. And those are the things that I question. And so for you to come here today and say, oh, I'm attacking Mr. Boakai and I got to talk about Mr. Cummings. And if you notice in my closing, I do a contrast between Mr. Boakai and Mr. Cummings like I'm doing now. My contrast is Mr. Cummings has not just led. He has not just been in a position for experience. He has a plan. Earlier, Aaron was talking about he has a map, a vision as to how to improve our country. He wants to start first by increasing our revenue in the country. He has repeatedly said that. He was the first person who said to Liberian people, I want to improve our contribution to our coffer to $1 billion. And he has a plan. He talked about low-hanging fruits all the time. Liberians, if you listen carefully, he said, I know it's going to take time for us to change this trajectory of our country. But I want to start with eco-terrorism because I know how beautiful. Before the whole idea of arrest that includes tourism came to part, I don't know the heart or the arrest or whatever, Mr. Cummings talked about ecotourism. He was the first person to speak about that. He talked about the beauty of our country and making sure that we can benefit, we can gain capital to improve our country. Where every Liberian has an opportunity, he wants to provide opportunity. He don't want to practice divisive politics like this is our time. Isn't it true that during the last campaign period, Mr. Boakai was attached to a campaign theme that sometimes said, this is our time? Am I lying about that? I ask you Liberians to do one thing, and that thing is to question, what does it mean by this is our time? Do you want a leader that will come to you and present to you, this is our time in Liberia? Or do you want a leader that will come to you and say, I want to make Liberia a place where I can give every Liberian opportunities to do better or to deserve better? And what you do with your opportunity is up to you. But my job as a leader is to give you opportunity. So Liberians, this is not the issue of attack here. This is not how I was trained. When you leave Liberia, you get exposure. This is not what we talk. We critically think. And I talk about partnership. I've been to Liberia. I don't know. I go to Liberia once a year. Most recently, I've been there 3 times a year, 4 times a year. So Liberia is my home. And you hear me talking in my writing, you will hear partnership. Because I'm not here to talk down at Liberians. Because I know there are certain things in our country that Liberians know better than me or anybody else. And there are certain things I know better. When you leave from the country town and go in the same school in Monrovia, when you go back to the country town, when you walk in the country town, you can know the person who's been to Monrovia.
The Queen Aka.
Yes. Okay. Well, our parents, because of the war, our parents sent our parents then back to America. When you go back home, and everybody can kind of around you to see what you brought, how you looking.
They can buy the clean pan to put your food inside, so they use a regular bowl. The water, make sure the water clean before they get it.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you. All right. That is just the way how life is. We are expected to learn and do better. When you know better, you do better, in the words of Maya Angelou. So when I tell you about Joseph Boakai and who I believe that can do better in our country, it's because I live in a country that believes in systems. And I know that Mr. Cummings been through systems. He has not been in just one system for 42 years. It will not rely on just dedicating services and tasks to people who might or might not do a good job for Liberia. He knows. And I know it because I work in system and I've been to the system in Liberia. So when we come here today, don't come here and tell me, many of you that says, oh, Dr. Richardson will be mad. My people are tenure. You know what tenure is? They can't fire me from my job until I retire. Okay? So
until you decide to leave.
Until I decide to leave. Okay? Even right now, said they just told me I didn't even know. Dr. Richardson, you got to teach during the summer. I'll be sitting down all summer. My picture will be coming.
I got to make sure you can visit Canada.
Yeah, you know I'll be there, bro. Okay? So my people, I just say what I know is the truth. What I know has value for Liberia. I want a better Liberia. And I will tell you right now, and I will tell you today, whether you like it or not, Joseph Boakai is not the right leader for Liberia at this time when we have 60% of our youth are below 35. I will tell you that he's not the right person for Liberia when we are in the world of digital computer space. We are already behind. I will tell you, yes, he has incompetent namesake because he's been a vice president and vice president. President Weah has name as somebody who calls it bike all over the place. But that doesn't mean that this person is the right person for Liberia. And every time I have the opportunity until they remove me to be moderator from this show, you know who I want to select and you know why. So on that note, I'm going to close. Whether you agree with me or not, I believe Mr. Alexander Cummings is the best person for Liberia. And someday you'll come to me, and if you're really speaking the truth, you will tell me, I know what you're talking about, Dr. Richardson. So thank you very much. Hold on a sec. Yes, guys, good day, and Aaron. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you being here and helping us out. Johnson and Fadiga, thank you also for being here today. Johnson, would you like to just tell our people goodbye in Pele?
Kwabali kia ku ngwe ku kolono ka pok bla uju beneve guyo kwa ko moy ku hiwo vodu bla ku hiwo katu bla wo ikwa la bia guyo guyo ngai de hiwo kange so ku ngwe kolono ka pok bla uju ku ga moy ka ke ku kele po Liberia loy ku we katu de iwe loba iwe kwa ku yepu gema ku wo pu gema age ku tikpanga Liberia ma menima kwa ku no enun to kala kaka ngormeni kapao de kapa kaku noeto kuyo ku gema so ku aka kla fe nunta fopa iboko wo boka yi kwa kama bo pompon nyawo daga gay de pa de kapate ka po aka luka ma nyomonga ka fo ka woto dia Liberia for the leisure so katwaye kwa ka li ku ka ngwe ku ka la kukula tu ka bala ushu.
Okay, thank you.
A real alakbere you be speaking to.
I need to show them man something. You know,
a real alakbere you be speaking.
The man said he got book.
You see this book? Guapona Apai. Let me show you the literature. I read Pele. I don't just speak it. Okay? I read Pele. So that your nyama thing you can be talking. Lawyer Guapona Apai. I'm actually learning to write now, not just to read. So before you start talking about Lala Pele, ask the Pele people that are watching their show what I didn't understand what I say.
Guys, Monday we're gonna have Mandela Cooper coming in. Madam Mandela Cooper is coming in here. Please join us, share the show, And thank you very much. I love being, if you're a psychologist, you love being emotional. So for those of you who say I'm emotional, that's a good thing. I have emotions. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you guys on Monday. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, folks, there you have it. Spoon Talk live on your radio. Like you listen to Dr. Richardson on Monday. We're going to have Magdalena Cooper as our special guest here in studio, live from Spoon House. My name is Aaron Kuban. I've been bringing you this edition of the program as your sound producer. James Goode Flumo has been on the other side. Bye-bye from my end.
And I like the way, I copy Aaron. I like the way she ended up with Kumi. I gossiping. I like the way she ended up with Kumi. Thank you.
Spoon will tell you what is happening in Morovia.